Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Peace to the family. Peace to you and yours. Brother Red Pill in the building, live and direct. All right. We have a powerful show today. This is our second inaugural episode of Conscious Connections. And we are going to bring to you today a well needed conversation. We have a legend in the building, our good brother Supanova Slum. You know what I'm talking about? So without any further ado, let me go ahead and bring my good brother in the building onto the stage with me, and then we're gonna start this conversation. All right. Let me see. Let me see. Make you the co-host. Boom. All right. Peace, good brother. How are you today?
Peace Almighty. Wellness salute, dear brother.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Welcome to our platform. Welcome to Conscious Connections.
Conscious Connections. It's an honor, man. And
Yes.
congratulations on your launch.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. And I'm honored to have you here. You are my second guest. Our first guest was the beautiful, talented Maui out of Philadelphia. She is a poet.
Nice.
Yes, she has her own podcast. Yes, she did a thing last week. The people loved her and whatnot. So I was like, you know, it's time to bring some balance to the table. And the time is right because there's a lot of things going on in the news right now.
Yeah.
And it's directed to men in their pain bodies
Yep.
and their willingness to hurt others as a result of them being stuck in their pain body. You know, the famous saying that hurt people hurt people. So going all the way back to the situation that took place in Buffalo. Well, not even that. Going back to our good brother Kevin Samuel's untimely demise and what we saw on social media with the quote unquote them dragging him, right? And you know, the fact that he wasn't even given enough thought pieces, enough people like the bloggers and those who should be more responsible, they didn't even deep dive into the complexities of who Kevin Samuels was. As a community, we kind of let something go down that it didn't sit right with me. But you know, it is what it is. It's the conditions that we see ourselves in, and you know, it's a reflection. But that kind of jump started a conversation about men and their need to heal, right? Because I've said it on record that our good brother, although he was a very talented and he had a lot of potential, he was introduced to us only for 2 years. So we were kind of robbed of the experience of watching that man develop. You know what I mean? I really don't know. I can't really think of anybody in media or in entertainment that was given to us as a full package in their first 2 years.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You know, or when they was given to us in their first 2 years, the years after that was their steady decline. You know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
you know, we never would know what this brother had and what he was able to contribute and whatnot. And then right after that, we had the Buffalo shooting or the massacre, and that individual was identified as an incel. And his manifesto, which I read, really highlighted his insecurities and his inferiority complex. He was worried about what Black men were doing with their phallus, right? And he was very upset with women of his race because, in his own words, you know, they were choosing outside of their race too much, and it was affecting the birth rate of his nation. So he decided to take it upon himself to punish the mothers and the grandmothers and people that, you know, looked like his quote unquote the threat that he identified as the Black man and woman. And then the other day in Texas, there was another situation where 19 people lost their lives, unfortunately, at the hands of an 18-year-old, and he himself had issues that was highlighted by classmates and even a few family members. He was a cross-dresser, and it was said that he may have been LBGT, but what was said was he was a recluse, that he had issues with family members, and he was a little antisocial and whatnot. So I was just like, damn, universe, you know, y'all really hollering down our necks and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah.
you're making yourself clear. I hear you. So I was like, what better person to have a conversation with than Mr. Man Heal Thyself himself, right? The super
Good.
legend, the Supanova Slom, right? The best-selling author, the health and the wellness coach, right? The advocate and the warrior, right? Mr. Heal Thyself himself. I'm like, he is qualified to have this conversation. I don't know anybody else in this community who is standing on the front lines and have branded themselves as a voice, you know, for our generation when it comes to men healing and whatnot. So before we even get into it, I'm gonna go under the assumption that not every single person that is watching this is fully familiar with you and who you are. So can you briefly, you know, just introduce yourself?
Yes, brother Red. Thank you so much.
Indeed.
Conscious Connectionz is a great opportunity that we're having here on this amazing platform. I love the expansion, you know, from Nola Ledge to how it is just growing and building. So
Thank you, King.
definitely shout out to you, Blue, KT, and Mother Pill and everybody in the family.
And salute
So
to
Wellness
you and the
family,
whole tribe.
yes, all the whole entire
Definitely.
tribe. Wellness Salute family. My name is Supanova Slom, also known as the Hip Hop Medicine Man. I am one of the master builders at the Man Heal Thyself 12-week rites of passage. It's one of the schools in my mother, Queen Afua. For those who don't know, I'm her oldest son, and she has a school called the Queen Afua Wellness Institute. So we have a modality school for the men, for the brothers, for the nephews and for the uncles and for the fathers, a safe space of healing for our men to be charged and poured into. So I run that along with my cousin, Hallelujah Walcott. And we do a 12-week rites of passage for brothers just to give them two social emotional tools, body, mind, and spirit, you know, reminders and affirmations and just holistic principles and cadences to strengthen him to be the best version of himself. Also, I'm a best-selling author by the same title, A Man Heal Thyself, The Wellness Warrior's Journey to Self-Mastery. It's a co-authored book by myself and my mother, Queen Afua. You can get it on Amazon. This is what it looks like.
Yes.
Man Heal Thyself, The Wellness Warrior's Journey to Self-Mastery. And so the book, the Man Heal Thyself book is akin to the 12-week rites of passage we have for the brothers. And as we go along in the build today, I'll share some of the tenets and the principles with Brother Red that I know that will be good tools for sisters listening, for your men in your life, and brothers who are tuning in. Also, I'm best-selling author of a book called The Remedy, remixed as the Holistic Remedy. That's also available on Amazon. Just giving brothers and sisters universal tools and tenets for holistic living, body, mind, and spirit principles. I'm also an established independent indie artist. I've been doing that for about 20 years or so.
Yes, sir.
A lot of stuff out there on the algorithm. You can check me out on all digital platforms. Right. And I'm a combat veteran for those that are maybe just tuning in. And also, I may be known by some in the formation now by the work I was doing over the last 20 years, called Unify the Hood, Heal the Hood. Was a grassroots organization I created to inspire brothers in the street tribes, in the war class tribes amongst our family, to stop infighting and find productive ways to work together for not only each set or tribe, but just for the perpetual protection of our people. And so that's a little atom spark of Supanova Slom, and I'm here at your service, fam.
That's a whole Netflix series, like season 1, 2, press. Nah, that's a whole docu-series. Like, yeah. You know, you really been putting in that work. You know what raised my eyebrows? And I was like, damn, I gotta reevaluate, you know, the whole situation. You put out your album, you did like a throwback, and you threw up the album, the Heal the Hood album. I believe that's what it was. And you put the date on it, 2020. No, it was 2000, I think.
Oh, you talking about the first album?
The first album.
The Medium of Balance. Yeah, the Medium of Balance.
The Medium of Balance.
Yeah, with 2002.
Hold on, man.
To this day. To this day.
Shit.
Artwork by Machindo. Yeah, I'm talking about.
Oh,
like
man,
you like I really thought, I'm like, damn, when I think about it, I remember Dead Prez and them getting busy, Aya Likes and other people of that era, but I was like, shit, son was on it, in '02. Yeah, Duo Live.
You want to live
I
there, the
met
whole
them.
family?
Yeah, I met them during the Black August.
Yeah,
I remember.
Black August. Wow,
Yes,
yeah.
I remember Black August. I remember Black Star.
Black Star.
It was
Tyler
Black
Most,
Star.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a Black Star and Dead Prez World at that time.
Oh, it was definitely
It was
2000
they.
to
Yeah,
2002. Absolutely.
it was a Black Prez, Erica Badu, Black Prez, Dead
Yeah,
Prez,
Black
and
Star,
Black
Dead
Star
Prez,
World.
I do. Yeah, yeah, that was a trinity.
So
back then.
I gotta put you in that class.
I say.
That's crazy. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's not too many from that class. You know, everybody is still working, right? I'm not, but I'm talking about a lot of people from that class. You know, they're not. You know, like you're still doing music, books. Like, you know, you've definitely kept this thing going, and you raised the bar. My next question that I want to ask
Before
you,
you go there, can I just shout
of
out
course,
you and Blue?
Oh, do your thing.
Because at the same time, I gotta reflect my beloved brother. Y'all were doing the newspaper. Let's go.
Oh, Four Corners.
I mean, come on. I mean, your new supporters are not really aware of the boots on the ground work that y'all were doing back then. To expand the consciousness and create a platform for us. Like we love conscious connections and know the ledge, but that was one of the first direct to the people, you know what I'm saying?
Right, in their face.
That you would go and get y'all a great bridge between mainstream, because y'all had a lot of connections in the music business people don't know. Right. You had a lot, at that time, you had a lot of connections in the business, and y'all still had your foot in the grassroots and in the community. So, you know, the paper was very holistic, very well-rounded. And it was, we in New York, definitely, that was one of the places you were going to get that knowledge if you wanted to get it. You know what I'm saying? From the independent artists to the mainstream artists. So
that was like a website.
Huh?
That was like a website before websites. It was like a blog and shit.
In the streets.
So
this is in the early 2000s. So salute. I'm glad to see my comrades still deployed in the field. Ashe.
front line in it, you know.
Come on.
You know what I'm talking about? It's a war going on outside.
And to even get to that, you know, me, you, and Blue had to survive the 90s as low lives.
Oh yeah, that's not even that's not the rites of passage aspect. The test that we had to go through.
Brooklyn in the 90s.
Of 90s Brooklyn. Oh, wait up.
I'm glad my brother. I'm glad we made it. You know, I'm glad we made it.
Yeah, it was turned. It was something else, and it was like, I'm glad that you even brought that up, because it's like what the newspaper represented. I remember the feeling. I remember the mind state. I remember the mentality when we were pushing Four Corners, and it felt like we were all on this little island together. Those of us who had the audacity to be conscious and be in the streets and whatnot. And just, you know, and not acquiesce to the knuckle draggers and the energy of that day. You know, we were really anomalies and whatnot. You know, we were trying to be smart when everybody was dumbing themselves down.
Absolutely.
And it was like, you know, I just had a feeling that something was going to break through one day, you know. And I went to Miami and I ran into Duo Live. We linked up in like 2004 and whatnot. They gave me a lot of hope, because I actually saw them make thousands of dollars a day selling their own music
outside of Fat Beach.
Now we had moved our talents to South Beach.
They were definitely in Miami.
Yeah,
I remember that.
And I was working with Pitbull, and I got fired and whatnot, because, you know, it is what it is. I was doing like merchandising, and I was a stylist and whatnot, and then I wound up going on tour. I turned into the documentary man. I was wearing mad hats, so I was pressing them for more bread, and they was like, yeah, that's not in the budget. So when I got out with Duo and whatnot, it lightened up my heart, because I was a little, you know, I was on fire when it came to the industry. I was like, I'm done with that shit. You feel me? They left a bad taste in my mouth. So Duo Live, to see the independence, they was living in a mansion, mind you, in Design District. Like I went to stay over there. Like we was living it up real good, eating Ital. You know, they was on a Naya, you know, for the family out there, these are Naya B. These are Rastas who one lead MC, Free, the MC, and Sid V. But they brought it was 9 of them from New York, and everybody was grinding. So when I saw that grind, it put a battery in my back, and I was like, I was in my mind, I'm like, shit, I could create something and sell it and survive off of that and thrive. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like I could really pay bills, and because it was not something that everybody was doing back then in our generation. Our parents was getting busy and whatnot. They understood the game, but we was, it was so going against the grain that it was like, you selling what?
Absolutely.
So that helped me start my t-shirt company. I came to Harlem, and the rest is history.
That's the history.
So it's like, we got to tell our story, brother. We definitely got to tell our story. There's enough tools, cameramen, you know what I mean? We need our own cooties and chiques and cooties on our team, bro.
Shout out to them.
And those are my guys too.
Those are my guys too.
Yeah, I met them with Pitbull. They shot his first video, and I've been following them ever since they moved to Harlem. So we was all in Harlem, JIV, Cootie, Chique. I seen the whole journey with them. But let's get back into the interview. Right?
Yes, beloved.
But I mean, this is the interview, but let's get back. Let me get to this question that I want to ask you. And I'm sure that many people would love to ask you this question. So I'm going to just go ahead and ask it for them. When people hear the name Supanova Slom, right, it's usually heard with that's Queen Afua's son, right?
Right.
And obviously, your mother is a super legend, a super duper legend. But I want to know, how did you manage to carve out a lane for yourself with your mother being who she is? And I only say that because we've seen so many people shy away from their calling when they have a parent who's great, right? Or who's been doing monumental work. Sometimes they wind up going in the opposite direction. So how did you do that for yourself?
Well, your spiritual mother set me up at a very young age. She was always into entrepreneurism, and so she was tired of me, my brother and sister, always asking her for money for toys. And I remember she was like, "You're gonna have to work for the family. You're gonna have to figure out you're making products with me. You're gonna be passing out flyers." And for me, she said, "No, but you're gonna start teaching, since you always want GI Joes and Thundercats and Silverhawks." Right. So I never forget this, Red. I was I think by this time 86. So that had to be about 9 years old. This is when she was married to my past stepfather, Baba Phil Valentine. And we were at his Baba Phil Valentine's house on Carroll Street in Crown Heights. And she said, Saturdays, you're gonna start your classes. You're gonna make your own. So she helped me with my flyer, and I was teaching young kids meditation, hatha yoga, and tai chi. Because at that point she had me in all of those arts. So what she did was, all of the people that would come to her for consultations, Red, and fasting, they all had kids. So I had literally every time they would come and see her and Baba for some spiritual stuff or some holistic stuff on Saturdays, the kids would be mine to, facilitate for 2 hours.
That's powerful.
And so I ended up having about between 30 to 45 students every Saturday, for 2 years. So I was already just teaching, just finding a way to teach. And around that time that I was doing that, I was part of this school, this charter school called Uhuru Sasa, one of our earlier, Pan-African big schools. I
heard about them.
Yeah, and so we went to, I remember around the same time, we went to the United Nations, and I became the class president. They wanted me to speak about, young people's healing in the world. So I did my first speech at the United Nations. So she just kept putting me, between the schools, 9 years old, having to teach people. Right. And then when she do her 21-day fasting workshop, she always had me come talk, to be a voice of the young people, to say, how was it drinking my green juices? And, what was it like being a vegan, vegetarian child, that she was raising, just to encourage other young people. So she always would push me, to be a voice, Right. I had my time where, I had my thug life, gangster portal moment where I just totally, was not in tune with what my mother was about. But I was just, the gravitational pull, as Red. in the 90s, early 90s in New York, in Brooklyn specifically. You come to LA, you say Compton. Compton is its own universe in LA. So Brooklyn was the same thing for us coming up in the 90s.
Right.
And my father, my birth father, I have always had positive role models, Baba Phil Valentine being one, my second stepfather, Baba Heru, Baba, the Ankh Man, known as the Ankh Man. Right. I had those positive examples, but my birth father at that point in the early 90s, he became subjected to the crack cocaine epidemic. He became that. And that really tore me up a lot. And, I kind of felt the pull to be in that element for a little while, just to try to show him that I can be successful and not, where he's at with it. And so I got into the hustling, not drugs though. I was doing it with guns, between boosting with polo and selling guns, illegal guns and that modality. Bob was teaching Kemetic 101 on one floor. Mom was doing 21-day fasting on one floor. And me and the homies just came back from, from a mission, me out and made some movies. Going through the ITs that we got, and laying out the guns on the bed, to sell. Right. That was my household. Right. So you saw one face, but you saw also, unfortunately, the young rites of passage that young Black males go through, in some degree.
Yeah, me and Blue went through that as well.
I know you and Blue went through that. Yeah, y'all were in the early 90s. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You got sucked in. Yeah.
So out of that, again, finding my own way. Once I came back up out of that rites of passage, I still kept the tenets close to me. Read. My mother came out with the book Heal Thyself around the time I was going through that rites. It was real successful. By the time I graduated high school, I had to heal my own self. You know what I'm saying? Because I at that point, even though I didn't eat no meat, no dairy, I was vegan. I was just addicted to sugar. I was a sugar crack junkie, kind of like my father, but just with the sugar crack. With the most illegal poison.
What is it? One molecule away.
One molecule away from crack cocaine in its composition. White processed white sugar. And so that same process of oxygen being cut off from my blood to my brain, my father was doing the same thing with the crack, right? So I was doing the sugar crack, and so I had to overcome that, Red, but I had to heal myself. It just couldn't be my mother, I had to do my own healing. And that's when I pretty much got deeper into the science of the chlorophyll, Red. Because what happened was once I remembered that when I was younger coming up with her, I didn't have those cravings a lot of times when she would give me all those green juices. She'll give me the chlorella, the spirulina, just all the concoctions and the different levels. Right. And so one day I took my gallon, Red, all of the different micronutrients. I put them all inside of a gallon, the dandelion, the alfalfa, the chlorella, the spirulina, and I shook it all up. And I just started drinking that this is 95. I'm just drinking a gallon. Everywhere I went, drinking a gallon of chlorophyll, drinking a gallon of chlorophyll.
So this is, are you saying that this is where we're getting the super mega greens origin story from? This is the super mega greens.
To this day. To this day.
Like people understand, like the actual concoction, the same thing, the same ingredients, Red. That was actually from my young body wanting to detox my own addiction. That was all it was. Wow. That's why if you look at the ingredients, it's just 7 ingredients. I didn't want to make it fillers. A lot of green powders have fillers, and I'm not against it because some of the fillers are good. But my thing was it was the concentrated blend, Red, that got my oxygen going.
It worked on you exactly,
right? So that's why so I started doing that, Red, and my skin cleared up. My energy came back. I was already getting back into the knowledge of self. Coming back from the chaos, and then I told my mom, I said, "Mom, I'm a chlorophyllian." She says, "What?" I said, "Well, I'm not. I'm still a vegan." But I said, but I really swear by the principles of just chlorophyll. But I said, because I'm no longer addicted to the sugar. I beat it.
It broke it.
I broke it. So I would just, talk about my testimonial, Red, at our Smile Tower, We Heal Thyself Center that was your home
legendary,
too, in Crown Heights. The 21-day fast that Mom would do, I would just always share my testimonial about my personal overcoming addiction to the sugar and the processed foods. And I'm just showing that even if you're vegan, right, you can still go through those dark portals that you would have to have a dark night of the soul for yourself with. And I just being transparent, like, I'm queen for a son, but this is my story. And so that turned into Red, people just being inspired by the story and say, hey, brother, can you share some, with me, consultations? So I just started to become a wellness minister on that level. I met Erykah Badu on a journey. right before Baduism hit, she was actually, I happened to be performing with a live band, and she was in the audience. And then after the show, we just immediately connected, and we started talking, building. And something happened where I told her I was a vegan, but I'm a chlorophyll. She says, "My God, I love chlorophyll." And then she said something about fasting and Queen of Four. I think she had Heal Thyself at the time. At that point, I said, "I'm taking you to meet moms and pops," right? So, we became tight on that. And then her reward for me, right? She took me on the road with her. So that first time when she hit with Baduism, I was on the road with her, Andre 3000, and she made me be the, how you have the midwife, I became the mid-husband, but holistically, just really making sure while she was pregnant with 7, I would be juicing on the road, Red. We would be in Europe and Spain and France and South America, but I would always, Red, find a juicer, find fruits and vegetables at a local market. And I would always make sure that she had her foods, regardless of what's on the rider or not. And so, that pretty much, got me more deep into the business, not only as an artist, but mainly as like they called me, the medicine man. I never forget, I was at Radio City Music Hall rehearsal, and Busta Rhymes and Spliff was going to be doing one of the songs with Badu. And every rehearsal, we have 3 rehearsals. I kept coming back with the greens for them. Drink the greens before they perform. And Busta, I don't know, he spoke so much weed, he may not remember, but he said, "Dog, you always giving me these green juices." He said, I know it's good for me, but oh my gosh. He says, "You know what? You're hip hop's medicine man." I said, "Yeah, I am." He said, when he said, "You the medicine man, you hip hop medicine man," it stuck. I said, "Yeah, I'm the medicine man." You know what I'm saying? So
you got Christian by the dragon.
I just kept walking into the responsibility, Red. I just kept moving naturally into it, and naturally, when I left tour with Badu for a couple of years, got back into my independent portal as an independent artist, I said, "Man, you know what? I got to find a way to share these tenets that I've learned while I was deployed, with working with Badu as artists, with my other artists, local artists, and just, and so I said, I started creating something called the Hip Hop Meditation Cycle. And that was really about teaching brothers and sisters how to deal with anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Use meditation and breathing through anxiety. So in the 90s, I was doing the cycles, and teaching about juicing and importance of, and I wasn't really trying to come read about dogmatism, whether it was vegan or not. I just wanted to drop this, just drop the science for them,
the nuggets
and have them, find their own way with it. That was always my thing, Red, is that in the journey of wellness, my mother always taught me all roads lead to wellness. So she never taught me to be a set tripper to a different healer. She said, learn from everybody, find your way, learn from everybody, and encourage people. So my modality in holistic wellness is always of how I can be an encourager and someone that is like a coach. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you have to make your own play. So I'll give it to you, right? I'll lay it out for you, but I want you to create your own play more than Supanova told me to do this and that. More like I'm gonna lay it out to you. I'm gonna encourage you. But let's see how you vibrate to certain fruits and vegetables and let's see how that works for you. What works, what doesn't work, and create a system for yourself that you can be accountable for. So that took me in the pathway. I created my first film around the time you did Four Corners, called Holistic Wellness for the Hip Hop Generation, that came out in 2003. And that was with Dead Prez, that was with Erykah Badu, Common, and many others in hip hop at the time. I just felt that hip hop the culture was moving into where it's at now. Where we will be dealing with health issues, health disparities, diabetes, hypertension, asthma, and we're here now, And so I put out the film in 2003 because I got the revelation. I said, man, if I can get my generation excited about wellness and on it, then we can transform and transcend, that demise, But now, of course, in the algorithm, I didn't make the algorithm in that time. But now there's a whole crop of healers and brothers and sisters and thought leaders that are doing the work, which I'm very excited about. But I'm one of their founding brothers. You know what I'm saying?
You a seed planter, bro. Like you foundation, you're pioneer. You know what I'm talking about? Like you did a lot of heavy lifting, and I bring that up a lot.
It was heavy, beloved. It was heavy. So anyway, I know I was a little long-winded, but just to conclude that, there were 2 more gestures that happened from the Holistic Wellness film documentary. Then I created my first published book with HarperCollins. It was called The Remedy. And that came out, I wrote that in 2007, and then it came out around 2009.
Yes.
At the same time, I was blessed to one off. I was at a low point. I was with a group called the Maserati. I was actually one of 3 MCs that were part of a brothers that were part of a group that was sponsored by Bill Cosby.
I remember
just to
that.
put out some consciousness. You know what I'm saying? And so I did that thing. That was like an epic journey. Red, like, whoa, you know what I mean? So that was a blessing. And then you know, throughout those whole times, Red, you know, seeing you and your brother grinding, doing the wellness work, I still have my foot in the streets, not deaf, dumb, and blind now, but still connected. now still the brothers that I was boosting with and hustling with, who later become known as New York's Crips and Bloods, these became our comrades that I would fellowship with, you know, to do a lot of gang mediation. And around the same time, I created the organization called Unified Hood, Heal the Hood. And I said I did both affirmations of unity healing, Red, because I realized that if I get brothers to help to cease fire, to stop killing each other,
yes,
we have to do the internal healing. Because if he doesn't, like you said, if you said something dope earlier in the intro, you said something about hurt people, right? So if the brothers are not giving some type of paradigm shift and changing holistically, so they can account for it, when they get back with the set and the tribe, they're going to go back into the same thing. So I realized that they work in tandem, and some of those same powerful Crips and Bloods were dealing with prostate issues, Red, hypertension, asthma. These are like warriors, but they were really sick, you know? Right. And so we you know, when I was able to be boots on ground in Brooklyn, I was also known for that. And now I'm here, you know, as a wellness warrior, and we're here helping brothers, and all of that brought me here. It brought me to being of service to brothers, to the men. I'm excited to be a bridge. I feel that my mother and Baba Phil and Baba Heru, and you and your brother, like all of my family that I've interacted with over the years, have prepared me for a time for this type of service. You know, I've served the country as a combat warrior, but even that has brought me to be of service to the Black man and to men that need healing, you know, and to hold space for brothers in their healing. So thank you, beloved.
When the book coming, man? That's all when the book coming. I need, you got some stories to tell, my good brother. Yeah. You got some stories to tell. All right. So I know that you touched on it in your intro, right? But for those who just came in, can you please reiterate what is Man Heal Thyself?
Yes.
And where did it come from? What inspired it? Because I feel this information needs to be yelled from the mountaintops, because everyone needs to do this work.
Okay, thank you, beloved Red. So Man Heal Thyself is a 12-week rites of passage program for brothers. We do it 2 times a year. It's affiliated with the Queen of Four Wellness Institute. It's a 12-week or 12 strong, I will call it 12 strong modality. And so it's really for brothers and men to be the best versions of themselves. You know, there's really a lot of safe places. Let me say there are a lot of safe places for men to come and really do that social, emotional healing, that spiritual healing, and have that nourishing, you know, accountability, that holistic, nourishing accountability to transform himself. And so every 7 days we take brothers through what the Kemetic ancestors will call the Arites, or the energies. And the whole point, imagine, Red, your whole body from your feet to your crown, like your whole the body of man. And so every 7 days, Red, we're doing work to move up to all of what they will call, the Indian brothers will call chakras, the Arites, the energy centers. And we do activities every 7 days in honor to move on up. And so the goal is to bring your shadow self, bring your issues, bring, you know, the trauma, the molestation, the rape that men go through, they don't really get to speak about. And every 7 days, we take brothers through different assignments to challenge them to actually shed that, you know, and let that part of them go. And so brothers are responsible for, you know, drinking their water. The goal is for brothers who have not been into the culture of being hydrated, Red. We live on a water planet, you know, and we have mainly water bodies. We recognize the more water we have brothers doing, eventually we want to give them to a gallon a day from AM to PM, not just at one setting, but, you know, from AM to PM, have a gallon of this body. We also help brothers build their apocryphes, you know, so we have a various realms of herbs that we want brothers to ingest, not only in tincture form if they can, or the loose herbs, but also, Red, we want them to take what we call spiritual baths. So let's go through it. So the herbs for week 1, right? Week 1 is called, bear with me.
Yes, sir.
The family man of unity and wealth, right? That's the first. So that's what we're dealing with in the first 7 days, right? And so our beloved brothers, for the first 7 days, let me see if I got it. I got it right here. They're going to deal with the aloe, burdock, sarsaparilla, bonnet, horsetail, yucca, and alfalfa. So that's an example. So you could take those same herbs, and all of those herbs are dealing with the first area of the body, right? So the anatomy of man, we're dealing with the skin, legs and feet, muscular system, and the bones. These are the herbs that are addressing those areas. And so every 7 days, for that example, Red, brothers are giving a list of herbs to not only like you, so like the herbs that you drink as a tea, right? We want your brother to what we call them in bodybuilding stacking. So you stack your wellness, right? So you stack your herbs, Red, you get brothers back in the kitchen. You know, we know women get in the kitchen, but you know, have brothers be hand on with his healing, right? So you get your big pot, get a cast iron pot, throw your herbs up in there, and you're sipping on your tea throughout the day. And you can take that same water, Red, and you can actually put it in your bath if you have a tub, and you can soak, for about an hour. Just let those herbs get into your skin. And also, that's when you can do your affirmations at. That's when you can do your prayers at. So these are the type of culture that we established in the first 7 days, Red. We also encourage brothers to do what we call an altar, but an energy station. I do that more universally, right? Because people have depending upon your knowledge, you may have a negative altar. So the energy station, Red, is just a place in your home where you go directly to charge you, right? And so if you're into financial health, you may put out a few fiats out there, a few notes out there, right? Just to signify to draw more into you. If you're into writing, we want to encourage brothers to, write a letter to themselves. Like, the first thing we talked about is the letter of apology. That's one of their first assignments, writing a letter of apology to himself, because there may be a time in your life where a brother may have been going through some blockage, some type of violation, and he's still holding on it. No matter what relationship he goes through, he's still holding. So one of the first assignments, Red, we have brothers write a letter of apology for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Almost like he goes into a time machine. Those that remember Back to the Future, the DeLorean, Marty McFly, you jump into your time machine in your emotional, spiritual body, and you go meet that 5-year-old self, that 10-year-old self, that 13-year-old self that may be still holding on to maybe rejection. Maybe both parents were there, but not giving you really attention, even though they were providing. Maybe it was a rejection. you're a player now, brother, but maybe when you were little, girls wasn't giving you the time of day. All of those things accumulate in men. We just don't talk about it, and men, we wear different faces to show up for life. So sometimes we get so many faces and so many avatars, we never get to go back to address the disturbance. But the disturbance starts to come in certain relationships that we may have. So in the process of the first week, we want to shake that up for brothers to have him begin to go into that shadow space and sit with himself and do various, channels, write your affirmations. So the affirmation that you'll write around that time will be an affirmation of courage to face yourself. Right. So just to chant, let's say Red says, I'm Red Pillar. I'm powerful. I'm mighty. I can see myself. That's for example, right? So Red will say that and mantra that throughout the day. And in his meditation, he'll use that mantra charge that he enchanted for himself, and he'll go into his meditation with that as his protection to address that pain body, to address that 5-year-old self.
Shadow, right.
Red, let me tell you something, Red, and this came out through my own, like I said, testimony, through my own healing. I remember one time, Red, I was one of my songs, right? Like everybody has songs and things they remember from a certain area in their life. Right. And I remember 1984 stood out to me because I think that was the first year that I started to, in my little mind, understand my father was on drugs, but he didn't appear to be on drugs, right? So in the 90s, he was just totally strung out.
Right.
And in the early 80s, he was fly with it. He was still pops. He was still, cocaine was the party drug. Right. So he was still functioning. So you didn't, but as I started to collect it together, I said, okay. So 84 was a time where he would always call and say, Red, I'm on Ocean Avenue. You know, Ocean, right? I'm up the block with Ocean and Fulton. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Me, my sister and brother will be out on the stoop. He'll never come.
Damn.
And he would do that a lot, like all the time. He would just be like, I'm down the block. Right? Red flags. Right. As I got older, I started connecting. Oh, he probably got caught up with the hustler, man, or whatever he was doing, right?
Right.
But anyway, it was 84 that a lot of that was happening. A lot of that rejection and, pops not coming through, showing up, or mom's hustling, doing what she loved us. We know she loved us and she was very emotional to us. But I remember that year, she just was real busy trying to, hustle for us.
Maintain.
So she was kind of a little cold, not mean, but, she just had to just get it done. So I remember a lot of things happening on the young emotional body. I was about 7 years old that year. I remember one of my favorite songs that year was Prince's When Doves Cry, mainly because it mentioned mother and father. Right. And that's who I was kind of going through my little body with. You know what I'm saying? Right. My pop, Prince talks about, what is it? Maybe I'm just too demanding, too bold. Right. Yeah, maybe I'm just like my father, maybe just like my mother, right? She's never satisfied, right? So I remember that song being played, and I remember what I was feeling. And so to check the DeLorean, Red. So the sonic, you can use music as your vehicle to go back to the future.
Yeah, it's a time machine. Music is a time machine. It's a DeLorean.
What I did, Red, I took the time machine. I was sitting out one day. It was a day I was feeling good, but I was listening to When Doves Cry in my headphones, and I heard it. Like I know it is from my heart, but I heard it. And when I really heard it, it took me right back to when I first heard the song.
Right.
And when I saw little me, Red, sitting in the room, watching the video. I remember hearing the song in the video. I saw me. I remember the shirt I was wearing. I remember how I looked. I literally saw myself, Red, come into the room, tap me on the shoulder, and my little me looking at me like shocked. And I picked him up and I just held him. And I just started crying, Red. Now I'm in the street. I'm outside. Like I'm sitting down outside.
Right.
And I didn't even stop myself, Red. I let it. I didn't care who saw me. I don't care. The more the tears were coming, the more I was embracing my young self, Red, and telling me then, I am working for you. I got you. And I understand. You know what I'm saying? And we go, and I'm doing some work that's gonna help you. You just keep going. And Red, I just felt, and right then my lady called, like, are you okay? I just was something. So she got the signal. She didn't even know what's going on. Just to check on me. And I just said transparency. I said, yeah, I just had I went back. I went back in the time and so I brought that to the brothers. I shared a testimonial in the book. I created a practice around that about the forgiveness portal. And it, brother, it works. And I realized all men, our men, Aboriginal men, and then the different versions of us around the planet, to the Caucasian man, all men are dealing with this accumulative pain body that he has not been taught how to distribute properly for his greater self. And you know what I'm saying, Red? And he has not been taught that. So he goes to these shadow portals of himself to operate just to survive, right? And he becomes a competitive predator to himself and others. Wow. Right. And then what makes it worse, Red, because our women at the time we were dealing with them, they were seeking and validating lower successful men. What I just said? Right. Low frequency, high successful men. We dumb down the nerd, smart version of ourselves, or the joyous young child, or the energetic child, to emulate an avatar to, okay, that's who I have to be. In order to get her to like me, I'm going to be better than that. I'm going to be the most psycho killer. I'm going to be the most illest thug, right? And so we take on these things and we become these ghouls and goblins. You know what I'm saying? We become these lions, tigers, and bears, but underneath, we're that powerful young child. We're that child that is the Christ child, that is the Heru. That is the Tooth Ankh. With the Krishna, we're him, right? But we don't know how to get back to him because the other avatars of survival have accumulated so much. You know what I'm saying? And then we have the women who may be at different levels of their development. They may water that version of us. And so we feel like we're stuck. So Red, that's the overall operating procedure through Man Heal Thyself. Every 7 days, we ask certain questions. We give brothers to think about things. We send them off on their meditation to answer these questions for themselves, the hard questions. Questions like this, Red. Let me give you an example, Red. Let me give you like this, Red.
Uncomfortable conversations that people are afraid to have.
So look at this, Red. So one of the assignments for the first 7 days is identifying blocks and releasing self-judgment, right? Some of the questions are, what are blocks that have been getting in your way? What blocks have been holding you back for your self-development? What blocks have you not been able to let go of? What people, places, and things have become the blocks? What has kept you stagnant and restricted in ways that have prevented you from healing and moving forward? Maybe it's money, emotional wounds, trauma. What have you allowed to become part of your being and reality that no longer suits you? So, Red, just those questions. And then remember, you know how men are, naturally we want to show up to our brothers, right? So that's what's powerful about it, is that when you get all these alphas in the room, they want to show they did their homework.
They're not going to be slacking.
Yeah. It's like, you know, how the God likes to say, what's today's math? You know, you want to get caught lacking, not knowing, right? So, but it's the inner work though. It's like, okay, did you do your assignment? And we don't have some brothers are not necessarily at that point developed to share out yet. We just making sure that he was able to at least do his work, you know, and then share with us, even if he doesn't go into detail, how did it feel to ask yourself these questions? So they get more complex as we go every 7 days, right, Red? But every 7 days, we create affirmation. The brothers have to write their own affirmations of protection, rituals, do their herbs, do their spiritual baths to strengthen him. Right. Because the whole goal, Red, during the 12 weeks, rites of passage, is for man to become valuable again. See, he has valued the money, the power, the women, the children, right? The family, the homies, but he don't think he's part of that. But what he does is he swags what he got. So he's swagging. I got this. I got that. You know how we come from. We MCs. We come from the rap culture. I got this more than you. But in the program, we say we want you to be the goal. We want it's all about you. It's you a beautiful black man. You are worthy. It's your time. So it ain't because we find, Red, the more the men are empowered, they can show up better to their women, their children, their family. You feel? To their work. And so valuable. We focus on pouring all into the brothers every 7 days with high level frequencies of tools and accountability, tactics and principles, so that he can begin to feel valuable again. He can start to move, like you said. Remember, we said earlier, Red, about, you know, when a man first gets with a woman, he doesn't remember who he is, but he's on a certain type of vibratory frequency to attract her. Right. And so that right there, Red, we want to take that moment that all men have had and lengthen it. Stretch it. Right. Stretch it out. Because and Red, wrapping around our consciousness and subconscious, how can we actually be him? Right. And when you be him, right? When I see Red, I don't see competition. I see my reflection. Truly, not in a hashtag. I see my brother shining. Right. So when I tell my brother, I'm happy that you have another platform, I am, because he's a reflection of, he truly is a reflection of me. You know what I'm saying? And I shine, you shine. That, and that becomes we want that men's healing to become the norm. Everywhere in the algorithm, Red, we see our beloved sisters in their whites, whether they follow Mom Sick Woman or whatever they're doing. They're at the beach, they're in these circles. You know, they join my wife, Layla Delia's Vibrate Higher Daily. They're doing the work, right? We need to be excited as men to fellowship and to get information, to pour into the brothers. Because when we have that happening, that's transformative. You know, and then we don't have to, and we have teaching our brothers, Red, not to be beta complainers, but to be owner of himself. Like when someone says, Nova, you did this, you did that, I say, you know what? Give me the full list.
Right.
Let me call me out. Right.
Right.
So Nova, I'm calling you out. Okay, call me out. Because whatever I was at, I was not conscious enough to see what I did. Right. So yes, command me, call me out of myself. Let me stand trial.
That's right.
And let me, you know what I'm saying? Let me read me my counts, Red.
Yeah.
My counts.
Read me that Rico, baby.
Yeah, give me that count. Yeah, give me the count, right?
Yeah, give me all of it.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna own the weight. I want to put me under the bar. Let me press this off my chest. Let me get the gains. So when I become an owner of all of the things I created, now I can become a master problem solver.
That's right.
I can tap into the supreme mathematics, you know, what we've been taught, and really apply that to myself to self-correct.
That's right.
And now when I self-correct, I stand before the one that accuses me as the higher mind, the golden mind, not the vengeful mind, not the vengeful kind, but now the restored, the rejuvenated one, right?
Right.
And so this is the cadence every 7 days, Red, through the, again, whether you join our formation or not, even those who have the book, Man, Heal Thyself, you can take yourself through it. You know, it's great to work with the brothers because you have men from all types of backgrounds that hold you accountable, but you can follow along every 7 days and begin to really delve into the self-mastery, right? Because the more I master myself and heal myself, you know, it's a lifelong commitment, right? Let me read this to you, beloved Red, before we continue. This is a lifelong commitment. I want to, you know, healing is a lifelong journey, right? So there's no profound ones who are on the mount of all healing. It's you know, every time you want to challenge yourself to be the better version of yourself, right? And so it's always we can go deeper. But I'm going to read to you, Red, just so you understand further the consciousness of these brothers that we're working with. This is the oath. So when brothers come with us, there's an oath and a creed. And the oath is not to Supanova. The oath is to yourself. I'm just holding you accountable, right? So as we said, let's say, you're going to be a leader. I'm a leader. I'm leading you into you.
Right.
That's what my job is. So you don't have to follow. You're going to follow me. You want to follow me into you because I'm just going to I'm a U-turn back into you because see, we need the gods to stand. I can't be the only God standing. It's it ain't even, I can't even do it in the Marvel universe, right? I need all my
all the Avengers,
all of those, right? So this we open with, Red. We say the wellness warrior's oath. As a wellness warrior, each day I pledge to honor my health and wellness of my mind, body, and spirit with high vibrational awareness in choices and interactions, whether within or outside of myself. I make a deep commitment to my commitment 24/7 and 365 to defend myself against all toxic foreign enemies in or outside of me. I make a deep commitment to my commitment to protect myself against all enemies, foreign and domestic, as a man, heal thyself, wellness warrior. Because I'm committed to personal development, I will transform every day. Every day is a new gift, an opportunity, and a new chance for a greater self and a life of optimum wellness. This is my oath. Now, Red, here's the creed. Now, here's the way of life. The wellness warrior's creed. Because I'm a wellness warrior, no matter where I'm deployed in my life, I will honor my wellness. As a man, heal thyself, wellness warrior, no matter my job description, no matter where I find myself on this planet, I make no excuses for honoring my wellness. No matter the chaos of life or the demands, my well-being is my priority. I will not compromise the opportunity to build and obtain a greater quality of self-mastery. No excuse wellness is my creed.
Oh, one more bomb.
This day.
I felt that. I'm really feeling. I'm feeling everything that you are delivering, my brother. Let's go to the next question. And I'm sure that you probably already touched on this, but I got this quote off of your website, and it said, "Oftentimes, as men, we don't heal, we hold, right?
Yep.
And I found that to be very powerful. Can you expound on that, please?
Well, the holding versus the healing is the ego to say, I got that.
Right. I could do that. Yeah, I got this shit.
So this is once again the false avatar presenting itself for our survival, which is not negative, right? But what happens is when we don't swipe out the hold for the heal, this is where the heart attack comes. You know what I'm saying, Red? This is why you find out that brother passed. He was so young. He was in his 40s or he's in his 50s.
Right.
Because so many of us, because we hold and keep it real, Red. Like who do the men run to? We're not taught to run to nothing.
We can't
We're
offset.
taught to suffer in silence.
Suffer in silence.
Even when you see homies, like, you know, when we come from right in the hood, right? You see homies drinking together, smoking together. They drinking and smoking, right? All of them are dealing with some serious issues. Right. And we'll laugh through the smoke, we'll laugh through the high, we joke through the high, we rag on each other, but we're not really unpacking.
Look.
Right. And that's when a ritual, right? Because that's what it's a ritual, right? That's when the fire and the fire water in the fire
the spirits
could have done something if those brothers were actually in that formation being able to use the conduits. You know, our beloved Bobby Hibbert talked about that. When you would use the cigar or the cigarette or the rum, right, as a portal to fully just be transparent and let the false avatar go. But because brothers, we don't know how to really do that, because if you see me, you may want to do me. You may want to play me, right? So that whole thing is you're going to try to catch me slipping. So all of that never allows us to fully reveal, and therefore we don't heal through it. We just keep finding ways to build up the outer exterior, the outer, and we do it successfully, right? But internally, the internal thing is actually decaying. And this is when we find our beloved brother. How did that brother have a heart attack? I didn't know he had cancer. I didn't know he was a vegan. How come what happened?
Liver, kidney, heart.
It's the heart, because it's not only what you're just putting inside your mouth, right? It's the thoughts. It's the relationships, you know, like it's you know, you may have a woman that may not necessarily be on her sacred woman seat, and you may be trying to do something righteous, and you get in that womb will literally suck your life force. Right. And every day she's actually becoming more stronger and more powerful, and your suit is decaying because the relationship is not polarity at a balance, you know. Right.
And so it happens, equally yoked.
It's not equally yoked. It was aesthetically yoked, but it was not eternally yoked, right? Right. And this is why we say, brothers, hey, if we do self-mastery, we teach our brothers to activate their intuition. We always give it to our women. Women are intuition. Women are readers, and they are. But we are too. We're the best of both worlds. We're the best of our mother and fathers. Right. So this is when we need to really, you know, listen to that mothership inside of us that forms us too. You just like your great-grandfather, great-grandmother is in you too. Right. And so they're there in your DNA and your melanocytes to help encourage you and speak to you. But we got to help brothers do that. Marty McFly, go back to that 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, clear some of that blockage up so you can hear. You know what I'm saying? Be able to sit for a moment at your energy station, you know, do the altar work at your energy station. And, you know, if you in a time of chaos, put an elder in your family up, put a grandmother up. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if it's not in your family that you're in polarity with, maybe it'd be somebody in life that inspired you. Put their energy up. If they're ancestor, talk to them. Put a water glass up. The water is the conduit to the physical and the spiritual world. You know, the planet is water. We're water. That water holds life immortal. So use the water, right? Use the thing. So when we get brothers into just doing these activities, in addition to everything he's already committed to, because he commits to everybody but himself. And that, Red, is the road to the demise, because we have not made a commitment to ourselves or ourselves. Right. Ourselves, so we get our brothers into making that deeper commitment and really unpacking and getting lighter, so the heru wings, so you can fully fly and take flight. You know what I'm saying? That's and it's a lifelong task, Red. 12 weeks is just the beginning, you know, but we want to just encourage more brothers to be excited about his pathway of self-mastery and healing.
That's an excellent segue to the next question that I have, my good brother. You said excited. I want to know, is there anything that we can do to make people more excited about repairing themselves, right? Everybody wants to be in relationships, and some have the wherewithal to know that they need to improve themselves before really committing, but they still hesitate to do the work, or they wind up avoiding the work altogether. So how do we become more enthusiastic about this?
So I would say this, repeat after me, Red.
Yes.
Nothing works unless I work.
Nothing works unless I work.
So I'm a work.
So I'm a work.
Yeah, you know what, Red? You know, when you think about the principle of a serviceman, like the postman, the policeman, the tenants, right? The fireman, right? These are all servicemen, men of service. Men of service, correct. Right? So we need to be men of self-service of our higher selves, you know, because we have served some lower gods, right? That's right. That's right. And we know that some of us are still serving those lower gods, and we're off God. We're off guard with our gods, right? And therefore we're being attacked. You don't even have your guard up or your God up. Right? Because you have been open to lower God. So listen, nothing works unless you work. And anybody, male, female, in our audience here, I want you to go back to the time. You can do this meditation with me and Red right now as you watch it. Go back to the time, right? It could be a person, place, or thing when you were most magnetized, like your most attractive self. Like, so if it was a job, you were doing something and then you got the job you was looking for. Or you were somewhere and you were thinking about somebody and you was praying, you never heard from them again, and then you saw them. Or you finally attracted someone that you, at the moment of attraction, you felt this was the one. Right. There's an energetic space there that we all hold that brings these results. Okay? It's inside of us. It's in our thoughts. It's in our spiritual vibratory essence, right? But it needs to be cultivated and you have to work on it. Right. So I'm telling brothers, rather than be a hit and miss manifester, what if we could sit in the portal of the manifestation? Now, it's not saying we won't be challenged. It's not saying that we won't have any whack days or things happen to us. But sitting in the portal of manifestation, you first have to be have gratitude. Gratitude is your protection, right? So the excitement also comes when you say, you know what? Let me count my blessings. My mom always told me. She says, count your blessings, name them one by one. Give me 5 blessings. I would go to her sometime, Mom, this and that's going on. So, okay, I hear your problems. Can you count 5 things you're grateful for? And the moment I said it to her outside myself, I started to shift my attitude, right? So the attitude of gratitude is also the portal of excitement too, right? So we know that we have what it takes to work on ourselves. And the excitement comes, we can just start with gratitude. If you're gracious and understanding you want to be here, you're not there yet, you're here, right? Think about the journey you've come to, right? And that's why I said earlier, Red, about at least the brothers, when we do the assignment of the forgiveness, when you have to go back to your old selves and where the wounds have been origin, the alpha wounds at, you're able to have gratitude because you say, well, I've come so far. I know I got farther to go, right? So I'm gonna take my time and really own up to whatever it was that I was the cause and the effect of. So becoming an owner, sister, brother, right? All of these principles, becoming the owner, it excites the magnetism, being a steward of gratitude, counting your blessings. Just name 5 things you're grateful for. Yes. Name 5 things that you're grateful for. I say right now, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful to talk to my brother Red. I'm grateful to talk to y'all. I'm grateful that my health is right now I'm feeling wonderful. I'm grateful that I'm alive, right? So can I name 5 things that I'm not grateful for? Absolutely. But the 5 things become magnetized. It's almost like an abracadabra. It's a spell. The minute I'm able to say it outside myself, I shift my attitude. The attitude of gratitude is what they say. That excites the magnetism, Red. And you can just do this. Everybody try it in your own way, in your own 24-hour clock. Every day, try to do things that bring a smile to your face, things that make you happy. Small steps. Small steps create whole steps. So you don't have to see yourself in the Thanos snap doing everything that you've been trying to work towards. But every day, if you're working consciously on yourself and on your cells, right? That means you got to detox and unblock things that have been stuck inside you, right? You know, Queen of Four talks about 21-day cleanse. Our beloved ancestor, Dr. Sabi, talks about electrical foods. So if you commit, if you make deeper commitments, right, to do your work on all levels, it excites the antenna. You know, we're walking antennas, Red, like literally. Roz beating on us, right? We walk upright. All our other brothers and sisters on the planet, most of them walk on all fours. We walk upright. We antennas. So we have no excuse to tap into, you know what I'm saying, our power and to be the change we want to see, beloved Red.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right. I want to know, in your opinion, what's the importance of having men's circles and elders for counsel throughout all stages in our lives? And why is it so easy for men to get together around common interests such as sports, you know, music and entertainment and so on, but not around self-development and healing?
Okay, so the first part is very important to have men's circles because the main principle of that is accountability.
Yes.
Right. Accountability. In the military, they call it your chain of command. Right. So you have your, you mentioned, so the elders, you know what I'm saying? The big brothers, the uncles, everybody, even no matter what level they may be at, needs each other.
Yes.
The minute there's a chain missing, the whole thing is compromised. Right. And so this is why when we stop fellowshipping or creating these opportunities to come together, right, then the chain is broke. And so brothers, like I would just say, one of the signs before I answer the second part, right, about why we come together for other things. If any brother has an issue with a brother that you know, get off the algorithm, make a phone call, send a text message.
Facts.
You know, and you may not, you or him may not want to share it with the algorithm, and that's okay. Like, let the world think what they want to think. But you know, just reaching out to a brother and having a direct build or an apology or just checking in, just hey, bro, I'm just checking in on you. Are you good? All right, peace. It changes someone's quality of life. It changes yours because you did the action, and the receiver, if they're ready to receive that, their lives will change.
Facts.
But guess what, beloved brother? Even if they are not ready to shift where you may be, just you doing that has already blessed them and blessed yourself. Okay, so that answer the first part, Red?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Accountability, right? That accountability is our power. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talked about in a clip that I shared in my stories. Don't quote me verbatim, but he mentioned something that he says the most powerful element on the planet is our unity. It's more powerful than an atomic bomb. He said, because we have not tried it. He says there's all types of forces that are stopping us from doing it. So, you know, the spirit of what he's talking about, again, is the accountability. You know, this is why we always have a respect for the FOI, right? Because they represent an aspect of an accountability that, whether we're Muslim or not, we aspire to reflect, right?
Right.
Okay, the second part of that, chain of command. Now, the other part of that, Red, you know, sports, music, women. That's where you're going to get brothers to kind of hang out in discussions for it.
Right.
It's a beautiful intro, right? But it's still surface. Because like I said about the brother who's drinking a Henny and smoking, right? Like, it's an opportunity for brothers to go deeper. But because we don't know how to, right? I'm just going to say, if you don't know how, you still want fellowship. You still need to be around the alphas, right? So that's why we magnetize to each other. And sometimes, unfortunately, to serve our lower selves, right? Well, I just want to hang out with the homies. I'm going to be, just to have the camaraderie. I remember when I was in the street stuff, like, I loved being around the homies. Mm-hmm. Like beyond just the objective was Jack and Polo. I just, the brothers that I was around doing those activities with, I was in my lower guard. Right. And I loved being around the brothers. I know we were all dealing with stuff. I know they was dealing with parent stuff too. I found out later on in life, like, you were, I thought it was just me, right? We didn't talk about it. I didn't tell them that my pastor was strung out on crack. Right. But I learned 10, 20 years later, oh man, this person mother was a whore. This person was on crack too. You know, wow. You know, we all those times we were with each other in and out of the system, and cops and this and bang outs. And it was so many moments. All of those brothers were going through the same thing. They were like, yo. So that's the thing about it, Red, is that, you know, we fellowship around mutual interests. I think that's just the nature of what we do as men. The challenge would be, I would put a challenge to all fraternity of brothers that get together, whatever level of society you're on, is I would encourage brothers to go deeper, have the hard conversations or ask the hard questions. You can be around your brothers and let's say that y'all talk about women, and most men like to boast about women when they're with their brothers to say, well, I did this, I did that, right? But I would throw out there, if you were next time in one of those bills, ask a brother, hey, has any of you ever healed from a heartache?
Right.
Or what was the first age you got rejected from a woman? It would change the energy in the room like this.
Right.
Down to the player himself. Because the player himself has become an avatar of what the player is. He's really a Care Bear. He's really a Care. He's become, the Grizzly, but he really is a Care Bear. But he has never had anybody to ask the question or quest on. That's what a question does. The question gives you a key to go deep and travel. Yeah. So he's never had somebody take the time and say, man, I never had nobody ask me that question. And
to even search for that answer.
To
take that quest to look for that answer and be like, I never looked at it like
right.
that.
So I would encourage brothers, that are tuning in with us, you could start in small steps like that. Like ask yourself those first, like to see how you feel with going to these pockets. And next time you around a group of men and y'all have the intimate build and y'all fellowship around sports, rap, or women, that's a good time to really, really use the cycle with those brothers and just go in. You'll find the minute someone asks and brothers respond, other brothers will start to reflect. And another brother will speak up, another brother. And that's what we learned in the Male Heal Thyself is that, these brothers are strangers to us at first, right? But we come with open hearts and we ask the questions, right? They don't know us. They just come, all right, we're here to do this work. And bang, we ask the questions. You know what I'm saying? What age did you feel your first rejection, and from who?
Right.
Do I want to say it? Oh, okay, it was mom's. What happened? I was 5 years old. I understand now, but at the time, mom was, she didn't give me the hug. I always wanted a hug. She always hugged me. And that time, she kind of pushed me away. And I never talked to her about it. And I was mad about that. And now I became a grown man. I never forgave my mom. Yeah, I hugged my mom. I liked my mom, but I never forgave her. Right. And so now I looked at women through that lens that mom didn't give me the hug on that day. Not asking mom, what were you going through? Right. So now the question goes deeper. Well, let me ask mom, do you remember that? Let me share this with you. Right. So I realized in this process, they say the sky's the limit. There's no limits. There's no limits to how you can look at the opportunity to go deep, and embrace it, and go through the shadow and become illuminate. Go back into the shadow, become illuminate. I tell brothers, if you fall off, anybody dealing with falling off energy, give yourself 72 hours of falling off, nothing more, right? So let's say you're on a fast or you're on a cleanse or you're eating right or you're working out. Life happens. You get a trigger, right? You get a trauma, something happens. And then all of a sudden you abort mission. Right. The first day, you're feeling bad. You're fully immersed in it. The second day, you're like, should I or shouldn't I? The third day is when you start to start to pick yourself back up and take small steps out of your shadow back to your light. Right. And that may take a cycle, right? Like you may get into it. You're on, you're off, you're on, off. And it's okay. When you're off, immerse yourself in being off. Be way off.
Right. Get it all out your system.
The reason why I say that, Red, is because when you're way off, you're going to remember and have gratitude for when you were not in this immersion.
Right. Right.
You're going to have a humility, right? And then from the humility, like I said earlier, that's the excitement. You can excite yourself, small steps back into a lifestyle or life cycle that will actually move you forward. Life cycle that will move you forward out of that feeling. But be compassionate with yourself, sisters and brothers, and give your space. Give your time and give yourself that time and space to go through the feelings, to move through it, to not really feel good. you know, and to sit with it. It gets ugly. Some of those pockets we open up, I mean, molestation, and, you know, we don't talk about it. We know women. We all talk about what the women.
Right.
We don't really talk about what the brothers, but a lot of the brothers have been unfortunately touched, violated at a very early age. Right. And that's one thing, you know, in the training, you know, we hold space for those brothers, man. You know, we let them know that we're here not judging them.
Right.
And we want them, if they feel open, to share what their experiences, and then we want to give those brothers a charge to write a forgiveness letter to that, you know, as their man self, as their grown up self, of maybe the 5-year-old, 10-year self that may have been violated by the uncle, the father, the neighbor, the babysitter, whoever, right? Or the
right.
friend. Give yourself space to catch the download and then release it. So you can take it up, you can put some Florida water on it, and you can burn it up, let it go. You can go to the ocean, go to a water. And if you have a river by you, if you have a lake, if you have an ocean, you may write it and just read it out loud into the elements, and then do a ritual just of release.
Right.
Right.
Let it go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain the Kemetic term myrrh to the audience?
Myrrh.
Myrrh. Yes.
Myrrh. Well, the Kemetic term, principle, attribute, myrrh is what our Western manifestation has called love.
Right.
And the hieroglyph, or the to interpret the message of it, right? The word of power is a glyph. Okay, it's a glyph. The glyph is a plow. So in the Greco-Roman tradition, we have associated the symbol of love being a heart, right? Our heart. And so the Nile Valley Commission principle, the symbol is a plow. Hence what you said earlier about read about being excited to do the work. The plow represented you had to work in order to generate that feeling in yourself and outside of yourself in a relationship. So I think it was very powerful when we think about our ancestors and the frequency they were on when it came to the responsibility of one's love for self. Hence we say, man, heal thyself. If I can begin to do the work of myself, then I can be a support of others in their work, right? Same thing with the love. If I'm not practicing daily love for first of all, do you love yourself? Do you even know what love for self looks like for you, right? It's a universal, right? But it may be a particular for each person. So you have to find the best way to find it, right? If you don't know what it looks like for you, think about the people outside of you, your mother, your father, your friends, your family, and your lovers. What do you attribute as their responsibility back to you? Whatever you say that is, that's what you have to be for yourself. Somebody says, well, I don't even know if I love myself. So think about, so then what, if you don't know what you love yourself, what are you holding people in your space to? Right? And so it's not an attack. I want to hold space for brothers and sisters. It's more like a self-reflection. Define what love is to you in all levels that you can just allow your mind to express physically, spiritually, mentally, energetically. Really get into what does love look like for you? Are you in practice? Are you in daily action and practice of what that love may look like for you? Do you hold space with a partner that reflects those principles? Do you know your love language? Do you know your partner's love language, right? Do you express love through touch? Does your partner express love through hearing? Do you express love through what you say? Does your partner express love for gifts, right? So these are different languages.
Right.
So either you master all languages of love, know your love, and know who you're dealing with. You may have a partner that shows love based upon words and gifts, right? It's not necessarily you have to buy them a yacht or some name brand, but they respond by those gestures. That's their love language, right? And your love language may be, I need that hug, I need that hold, right? You may need that, You see your brother, give me a hug, right? So that's your love language. When you see him, you gotta bring it in. He ain't dapping you from the air, right? So we have different love languages. Some people need reassurance. So their love languages is their heart is in their ear, right? As they say, you ever hear a woman say, he don't speak to me enough, right? She's not satisfied in the ear and her heart, right? That ear and heart connection, she needs those tones.
Right.
Be a tuning fork, right? You may need a embrace, right? So I think it's very important for us to do the inner work. When we talk about myrrh, talk about love, that's why it's the plow. You have to work. Hence, the plow is synonymous with the gardener, one tilling to his or her garden or fields. So you have to work. And you have to work, sister and brother, to find the language that best describes you. Or you find one language, you say, I really have other things too. You may have been operating from one language of love or myrrh, right? And there may have been other portals that you have attracted in your life through partners trying to show you yourself. But you thought it was just their love language. Oh, my lady just loves gifts and reassurance in the ear or the mouth. But that's you too. You just thought it was her, right? You just probably have not cultivated until what? She gives you a gift. Oh, I like getting. I was so used to give her gifts. I kind of like getting gifts too, right? Or she says, dear, have a great day at work. Or did your workout go good? Just her saying that, like, right? Whoa, I didn't think I needed that reassurance. This is what's exciting, Red, about really doing the self-discovery, because now you can bring much more tactics to the table of life, into yourself, into others, and then you're open to learn, like, each one teach one. Red may have certain languages mastered. My observation of him, I can learn myself, because he's my brother reflection. He's in his own unique signal, but my observation of that, I can say, oh, that's interesting, because my woman does that. So I observe Red master these 3 languages. I take that in objectively, and then I start to reflect it and understand my partner, right? And this is how we all do the dance.
Beautiful, beautiful. Wow. Okay. What's one of the biggest lessons or takeaways that you've learned when it comes to love and relationships? Let you marinate on that.
Yeah. So love and relationship, relay and ship.
Right.
Where are we going? Relay. We exchange and we move.
Right. Like a
so
relay
where
race?
is this exchange taking us?
Right.
Right. And this is for men and women. We focus on the brothers, but I think that at that moment,
we talking to both right now.
Brother. At that moment of powerful, what they usually call it, Red, the honeymoon phase. Life happens, right? So we climatize to different things, but I think we can't forget to tap back into that. We say that we think the honeymoon phase is supposed to just be all that powerful concentration in the beginning, the first 3 to 6 months, and then now you with me.
Right.
But I would encourage all you sisters and brothers to continue the dance. Continue the dance. Be spontaneous.
Right.
And this is why we teach our brothers. Listen, get on your James Bond, put on your perfume up, get on your gentleman, like, not to trigger the sisters, but Kevin Samuels, aesthetically, suited and booted, however it looks for you, brothers. Groom yourself, stay groomed up. Your woman loves that. You probably just into getting it, you forget it, but you love it too, right? So get back into ritualizing your joy. That fine tunes the union. Women making sure that you usually keep your hair and your nails done. You do your thing, and life happens. And then you got your man. He's loyal to you. You maybe not do things you used to do. Doll up just because it's a Tuesday night at 6. You don't have to wait for the weekend, right?
Right. Doing
those things in your union, it's a refresher. Your man come home, he see you dolled up. He like, where you going? And when your wife go, oh no, I'm going here with you. I'm here. He'll be so that you just put a electrical charge to his spirit. And then the sisters tell him, now you go put something on. Go take a shower. Go put something on. Where we going? We going in. Now we're going out. We're going in. And you're smelling good, Red. You're looking good. You're shined up. And then you're going in.
Wow.
This, Red, let me show you something, Red. What me and my wife did when I was in Jersey.
Hold on. That's powerful. going
You know why?
out.
I said we going in.
Like
you know why I said that?
Going
Because
in.
we're so used to showing out that we don't show in. You know, you see those couples, they look dope, they fly, and they can show out. Everybody love them. But can we show in? Can we bring some of that into the home? You know, what did Luther say? Respect to the ancestor. House is not a home when there's no one there. The home is just tight. Woo! Shout out to ancestor Luther. Come on, Red.
Bringing it with that. Yeah, it was
right? A chair is still a chair.
Yeah,
even if there's no one sitting there. Let's go. Right? But see, that's what I'm saying is that we have to bring that into the home. One thing me and my wife did when I'm doing the pandemic, I was in New York or Jersey, she was here in LA, is that I would say, oh, baby, today is let's go in day. Right. So we'll be alive, right? We'll be like this live. She'll go put on her dress and she's going to the ball. Right. I'll go put on my whole entire outfit. Red, look, she was there. She said, what we eating today? So she made her meal. I had my wine glass with my chlorophyll in it, you know, my little sparkling water. And I had my whole entire cuisine there, had my sage going. And I'm talking to her like I'm talking to you, Red. I'm fully suited. I put all my smells on. She's not there, but she's here. You feel me? Right. So I put the smells on because I wanted the woman third to be with me in my home. And then so we dolled up and bossed up as if we were going out, but we were in and we were just on FaceTime. That's right. You know? So if any of you are dating your loved one long distance, create those pockets of joy. I'm not saying don't turn up to the world. By all means, please, we need to see more of it. Right. But step out, but step in. I would say definitely, bring it to the home. Like bring it to the home. And it's okay, brothers, it's okay to sweat your lady. Let her know. Like it's okay. She's your lady. Sisters, it's okay to give it up to him. We have to be excited, Red, to bring that excitement off the algorithm that we all have been eyeballed slaves to, right? And bring stimulus. Okay, it's part of our work now, right? It's part of how we do. But don't forget to bring it in. That's what I'm saying. All I'm saying is I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying let's bring some of that algorithm inside. That's dope. I hope y'all out there taking notes, man. Let's take a breather, man. I hope y'all out there taking notes. I mean, the chat is going crazy. They're loving the conversation. This is Conscious Connections, y'all. Conscious Connections. Yes, this is right on time. You know what I'm talking about? The ancestors have approved this. Next question. I'm going to segue. It was a perfect segue to this next question, the buildup that you just was building, brother. Yeah. Now, you and your queen, your beloved, your queen is powerful in her own right? And in her own light. And you are shining together, and individually you are forming a supernova, literally. So can you speak on the benefit of having a counterpart who's powerful? And why do you think many men shy away from that? And do you believe in the concept of a twin flame or a life partner? Yes. Is there someone for everyone, or do we have to just keep searching until we find our fit? Any advice for those that are still searching? Absolutely. So, wow, that's a loaded one. It was loaded. Yeah, I loaded up. You locked it right there. Woo! To this day. Okay, so let me work backwards. So I do feel that everyone has an opportunity to cultivate a powerful dynamic. Now, proximity, sisters and brothers, you may have to move out of the proximity. It may now some people are in, let's say you live in LA or New York, right? Some people may be in a cadence of high. New York or LA to that individual may be a high attractive cadence portal for them, right? So they're constantly attracting people for dates, and they're seeing people, they're moving and shaking. And then for other people that live in the same cities, it may not be that for them, right? And that means your residence, your attractiveness is in the world. And this is when you have to do the inner work, the inner meditation to see where you need to be. I remember, my just to talk about my wife real quick, she doesn't really make any moves unless she really prays and meditates on it, even when it's like calling her. So basically, let's say Layla wants to go to Malibu and she's been thinking about going to Malibu. She will pray and meditate on it. If the prayer and meditation comes back no, she's gonna honor that. Why? Because she would not compromise the dynamic of her attractive listening, or what my mother, Queen of Fool, calls impeccable listening. So with that being said, as far as brothers and sisters out here, this is why wherever you are right now, if you begin to do the self-work, Red, and the pouring into one daily, what you're doing is you're strengthening your antenna, your signal. Because when we talk about love, Red, we're signaling. Like sometimes our signal may be weak. Not that we're weak, but just the signal may be a little weak. So we may have to be more intentional of pouring into ourselves and creating an immersive love experience, right? So this is, let me talk to my brothers backwards. So brothers, if you are in a space where you're looking for, your reflective queen or woman in your life, you have to be so concentrated in your self-development, brothers, because a woman loves a self-assured man, a confident man. And a lot of that comes with a man that is really in his, he's centered, And so I want to encourage you, brothers, to build on your daily confidence, to pour into yourself daily, because it's going to strengthen your signal. Like you could have lived in Compton or Brooklyn for 10 years, right? Looking for a woman, can't find a woman. The minute you find yourself taking 21 days or 3 to 6 months just to really work on you, I'm not gonna be bitter. Let me just pour into me. I'm not gonna be mad. I'm not gonna be cursing nobody out. Your signal goes up. Brothers, I talked about the forgiveness letter.
Right.
The reason why you want to forgive your exes too. When you forgive them, you cut those cords. Sometimes you have energetic cords still on you. Like, how come I can't get the woman I want? Because you keep attracting the same woman over and over and over. Because you ain't caught, you still mad. You still mad at her. So 10 mates. Come on, right?
I don't mean to cut your wisdom.
That's the same thing for the sisters. You think just because you're having sex or in a relationship with somebody else, you're still with Kevin from 10 years ago. You still with Shaquita from 15 years ago. You have not forgiven them. You still mad. There's some things you still smell. Think about them, a song or a trigger, right?
Right.
Something your current mate does, you thinking it's them, and they not them. So that needs to be healed up, sisters and brothers. And when you heal it, I call it Hadiyah, me and Hadiyah, sister Hadiyah, shout out to Hadiyah. We're talking about, me and her came up with this thing called, we're going to bless them ago. So do a ritual of blessing your exes ago, no matter how crazy it was. Bless them ago.
Right.
When you bless them ago, the cord is cut energetically. Right? You cutting the energetic cord. So bless the partner. Say, you know what? Universe, thank you for sending them to me at that time and space. It no longer serves me. And I'm sending blessings and I'm letting it go.
Dope.
And what's going to happen, Red? Your antenna, because we're walking upright, it's going to be more magnetized. And you'll find, wait a minute, people looking at you a little more. you on the train, you on the bus, you're at the job. People didn't pay you attention or complimenting you. Right. Because you let some stuff go. So sometimes the mate you looking for, brother or sister, has been looking at you the whole time, but they ain't been looking at you. You feel me?
Right. The
moment you do that inner work and you decide to let some of that lights be lighter, your face is gonna be revealed. And then you're gonna start feeling you're gonna start feeling like yourself again, right? And it happens for all of us. Okay, so I was just gonna say that, do the inner work, the proximity you live, it can be some serious jewels there. And or it can be low-level jewels, right? So you may start vibrating up as a sister and brother with your swag and your auric field, but what you're attracting is what I call high lows. They're higher than they were, but they're still low. So that means you can still settle.
Right.
For the high lows.
Yeah, you didn't
because
hit there
they look better. They look better than what you've been getting.
Than the last one.
Better,
Right.
But look, and this is no shot at the high lows because they at their vibratory resonance.
Right.
But you have to decide: is it a reflection? Are you there? Is it a good fit?
Right.
Or you want more? So you may have to now find a way to expand out of proximity and be in other terrains. Like if you, let's say New York, me and you are from New York, Red, and it's cold in the winter. You may need to be in a warmer climate. Even 6 months, be in the mix, be in the culture, meet some people in your new higher vibratory self. And then you may balance that. Okay, do I like this person here? Remember, who you meet in the winter, my mother always told me, give them 4 seasons.
That's right.
You meet somebody in the summer and you love them, you're feeling each other. Go summer, fall, winter, spring, back to summer with them.
That's right.
And now they're learning you and you're learning them. Then you can, well, she will call it court them. Don't commit. Court before commitment. That's why my mother talks. But if you court them in through the seasons, you get to learn them in different climates.
Right. Which is
because
significant.
Because the cold is going to bring a different signal from you and him.
Right.
The summer, y'all was all popping. Y'all may show up different in the fall time. You may show up different, right? And so you want to give yourself time to actually ebb and flow. And court, like we had to bring courtship back. I think we just,
it's a magic in courtship.
You said, Red, the pheromones be high. We be loving so much. We get we jump in so quickly. Right. We don't give time for us to be fully expressed. And what happens when you commit to someone when you're not fully expressed, judgmental relationships start to come in. You start to overjudge each other, start to talk low into each other. It starts to be a lot of bickering and back and forth stuff. And so you really want to give yourself some time just to see what that is. Okay. All right. So we're going backwards. So proximity, self-assessment.
Right.
Okay. Doing certain work every single day to raise your antenna so you can attract your options out there. So yes, sisters and brothers, for both of you, if you're doing your work, there are a whole lot of options you may have, but you have to be honest with yourself and where you at. Right. Okay. We talk about moving around. If you're in a competitive environment where everybody's dating back and forth, you may need to disconnect, because a lot of times in a high competitive dating environment, nobody's even courting. They just kind of messing with each other, messing with here.
Hooking up.
Hiding this avatar, only showing this face. So then everybody know each other.
Hookup culture.
So we just sending each other into each other. Nobody's sending no quality out there. We're not really giving out the really who we are. So I would say, if you're not really into that, disconnect from the competitive dating portal, because that mean if that's not where you're. Now some people they patient, they in there, they sit, they see, and then they attack. So I'm not going to say that it's not for you. I'm just saying that if that's not for you, then you don't have to be in that. You may have to expand your possibilities in a different proximity, where there's not a lot of that going on. Okay. Self-work, self-accountability. Then you talked about, what was the other part of it, Red, of the question? The first part?
The first part was about your queen and her shining. And
then sometimes brothers have blockage.
Yeah, they have hang-ups about being with a woman that's powerful.
Woman who's turned up. Did I answer the second part clear?
Yes, you did. Yeah, you covered that.
Okay, so let's address this. So, okay. We're taught that man has to be the winner, the breadwinner, the go-getter.
Yes.
That's just what it's taught, right? Whether it's good or bad, that's what men have taught. Now, everybody at different levels of their attraction, right? So in your world as a man, you may be hawk smashing everything, like really getting to the bag, right. Open opportunities. Everybody know your name. Then something happens as a man. You end up attracting a sister that is, in your mind, spectacular, incredible. Whoa, right?
Right.
And she sweats you too, like everybody else.
Right.
But then as you get to know her, in her world, she's a titan.
Right.
You didn't came up on a titan.
Right.
So what most brothers do when they come up on titan, what's a rare, when they come up on a titan woman who's, she making her 6, 7, 8 figures, right? She got her own social network. She's doing her at a high level. You forget who you are. You forget that, wait, you're the one that your signal attracted that titan. You start going into the programming of man. She got more than me. So now you start feeling less of yourself. You cut her out emotionally because she's sweating you. She's excited about you because wherever she at in her titan world, she saw you and she felt that you were aligned with her. Even though you physically didn't think you were at her level, she saw you.
Right.
So you are bypassing that with the lack consciousness. You're because automatically you have not been taught how do you facilitate a powerful woman. Well, how do you do that, beloved? You just remind yourself that you're God. And you created this opportunity for you to grow. See, when a man gets a woman that's a titan and she's a smacker, he can't, or you don't have to compete. Just be. Just be. Sometimes it's okay to be Red. Look, Red, The power behind the throne.
Ooh. Watch the throne.
I'm tapping into my brother Red's cloth talk. Let's go. Let's cloth talk.
Let's do it.
Because when we think, because I remember you and your beloved brother were on Brother Rich yesterday talking about Rome, right? Talking about that whole, right?
The Genians.
We have to. Let's put some understanding on those Caucasian brothers and sisters over there in that time and how they was smacking, right?
Right.
When you think about the Merovingians and all of those people, the families, right? They were all power behind power.
Facts.
In the Aquarian age, I'm just gonna let the brothers know, right? This is a beautiful age. This is good for us. See, our power is when we become men in the healing of ourselves. We have to rebrand ourselves because the brand of man has been tarnished by great men, whack men. Like it's just been. I mean, everybody got issues, man. Got issues. Right. So man is man's responsibility. We have to help. Again, that's why I said accountability is our power, Red. We gotta, like I want you to win in your union. Call me. You before you go off. Let's have a bill. Let's have a brother bill, and let's work through some stuff and some strategy. Because if you win with your woman or any woman you're dealing with, I win. Because you know what's gonna happen? They're gonna see me walking down the block one day. Is that Supanova? Yeah, he know Red. And if Red did anything that was out of my eye, I'm with Red. You see how that works?
Right.
Oh yeah, he know that, right? So automatically, right? Look, but if they see me, hey Supanova, and they don't know that me and Red fellowship, and he went back with his tactic, and he came magnificent. And now when they see me, hey Supanova, they only saying hey Supanova because my brother was holding his God, right? So it's okay, brothers, if you're at a place of high level attraction. You have to understand that maybe the universe did it where that Titan woman is there to help you accelerate on a whole other frontier. Because without her, you was already smacking. So you checked that block, but now you got her, right? Now this opportunity to fellowship with her on an energetic level, maybe on a business level, maybe be her person that. How you say that word, Red, that
consiglia.
Remember the Godfather had the
consiglia.
Right. You can
consiglia. Consiglia. Yeah.
You can be that. That's you could be that to the godmother.
That's right.
See, if you got a powerful woman, brother, your only duty is to hold court.
That's right.
Hold court.
Watch the throne.
What does the man do with the ark? Holds court, right? Look what Jay-Z did with Beyonce. Look, that's holding court. Holding court. The phallic is holding up the womb. He's supporting the womb. So that's really, it's in our tradition. You support a powerful woman, you are being knighted. That's what power does.
Right.
Power knights you into your deployment and empowers you. So if she's smacking, listen, you don't want your woman to be lazy if you a go-getting man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look. Let her win. You win. Your fellowship together. Let your pillow talks be strategies of the great takeover. Can you imagine Bay and Jay-Z's pillow talk, man?
Yeah, they not sitting around. He damn sure, I hope he ain't, he got enough push in his pee that he ain't sitting around talking about no man to Big B in the goddamn bed. That's a vibe.
Come on, Red.
That's suicide. Word of advice to all of you pillow biters and pillow talkers out there. If you bring up another man to your whiz,
come on.
That's a red flag. You know what I mean? Especially in the bedroom. Like,
and you don't
ever do no.
And it's no need. It's no need for you to even facilitate that. So again, if you're a brother that has the blessing to attract a high dynamic woman, I'm gonna say to you right now, wellness warrior salute. Word. Now, can you? Now, I would
you made it.
You made it. Can you hold? Can you hold and cultivate this charge? That's what you need to do. You need to take all of that power you had in that moment. This is your opportunity to show and prove that you can hold and cultivate what this is. It doesn't have to be a situation where you feel less of a man and being dominated by your woman. That's the lens you're looking at is limited.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's Western thought. That's Western.
We don't have to even look at it like that. Right. All you have to do is stay in your power signal, right? And you will continue to be knighted. That's it. You know, and the same thing for, you know, I'm not gonna say this for women, because you find women are more supportive of men in power than brothers, you know, and the other frequency. But I would just say, brothers, you know, if you, it's a rare thing, and if you have it, you're a rare man. And I would just say, bless you. Now going deep into my personal testimonial, you know, Layla Delia, my wife, Vibrate Higher Daily, the author of Vibrate Higher Daily. Okay, who she is as a master teacher of vibratory living and high powered frequency in the world. I happened to be married to her almost 10 years ago. So this is my second coming, the second coming of Christ in my relationship. Right. So we were actually a couple and married many years ago, and then we divorced and went into our different portals. Who the world sees now in my absence, who she's become, a powerful beacon has she become. When we were together in the first iteration, that's who I saw her as. I saw her as that. I felt her as that. And I would encourage her in that portal. All the time. I always felt that she had it in her, you know, to be a powerful teacher. And so in the absence of us, when we were in different formations in life, I would hear things and I would see things and I would be excited. I wasn't with her, but I would be excited of her winning, because for me it was intimate, because she was actually manifesting fully what I felt for her, you know, in such a dynamic way. She found her portal and she locked in, and it was a wrap. And so I wasn't with her, but I became a fan, a supporter, you know, a supporter. I'll say, you know, and another thing I did, right, for the brothers who have the pain body, I wasn't with her, but when I would think about her, get triggered, I would pray for her. Because even though I wasn't with her as my mate, her winning was what I always wanted for her.
Vision.
So instead of being mad and triggered that she was winning and we're not together, or, you know, whatever that dynamic is, I would think about her, smile, and just send a prayer for her and the children. And in 5 years, Red, we were not together. No phone calls, no interaction, nothing. So
no memes. No, inbox
we had
memes
no
there.
connection. It was dead. It was dead radio silence. I literally was in two different relationships. You know, she was a devotee in her path. It was the work that provided an opportunity for us to be together. It was me I actually had a break. I was going through a breakup and birthing Man Heal Thyself, Rites of Passage. And my mother said, the minute you started pouring into your brothers and helping your brothers, that relationship was doomed. Because the past relationship, when I came into that relationship, I was at a certain vibratory frequency. When I started working on myself to help brothers, I wasn't him no more that got with her initially. So me and her were not, we were not in harmony anymore.
Because that person doesn't even exist anymore. That iteration of you, that version of you,
yes, Red, not him that made it.
She fell in love with,
She was foreign, so that's why it was a lot of fighting, and because I was a stranger, it was a lot of fighting and misconnection. I
can relate,
because I had outgrown who I was in the initial connection. Now she was growing. Remember I talked earlier about the low high. She was a low high. She was growing, but we were not compatible in the growth. So it was not a bad person. It was just that we were no longer compatible. And so rather than cursed and mad, me personally, can't speak well, I blessed her ago and wished her well. And I just took all my energy that I would normally feel a melancholy off of a breakup. And I kept pouring into the brothers. I kept building with the brothers with Man Heal Thyself. I kept being excited about hearing brothers' stories, you know, holding space when they would go through their, you know, brothers were going through their divorces, and I would just kind of share with them, and we'd just be holding space for brothers. And I would be healing, getting more. I helped more men than more I was healing myself. So I didn't even have time to mourn that relationship. So in the work, Red, I was able to attract an opportunity to speak to my ex-wife in the work. And then we just met each other as a service man and woman. We said salute.
Right.
We really had no plans to get back together.
For the greater
was
purpose.
So powerful, Red, that once we saluted,
right.
we went from zero radio silence to nothing to just, I love your work. I love your work.
Right.
Yo, you doing some powerful work. Well, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. We started there, and the respect and the humility and the work created an opportunity for courtship. So yes, Red. Yeah, my wife is on a whole nother level than me, and I'm very excited about it. I love it.
Thank you for thank you for revealing that. You know what I mean? And I'm affirming that would really help somebody that's out there who may be struggling with detachment, maybe struggling with, you know, what you said, mourning and grief and whatnot, and also maybe struggling with the anxiety, because it was broken down to me that depression is when we think about the past, and anxiety is when we think about the future, and we get messed up and whatnot. And there's people out there that are folding under anxiety because they may be going through their first breakup, but not knowing that, you know, you may get back together with the person who you claim that you love and whatnot, because what was meant for you, it will never go away. It's just work that needs to be done. There's phases that we go through. And like you were saying earlier, you might have grown out of that older version of yourself, and vice versa with your mate. And y'all both got work to do so you could reacquaint one another with your new versions.
Sure.
There will be an imbalance.
Yeah.
So I want to know, what was your man in the mirror moment? Can you give an example of a point in time when you decided to change your life for better? And I know that this moment happens many times for some.
Yeah.
Many
times. I think I've in this physical expression, I've died many times along the way, fully just. So there's not one time, but I know, I would say every few years, now that I know it happens, right, I create the living, what I call a living funeral. So a living funeral for me is, you know, you go through these successes, you go through these highs, everything's winning, the money, this and that, things working out, right? And then you start to see, you get the energetic heart attack. You get the signs that something's not right, right?
Right.
So now I do rituals to prepare for me to lay it down so I can wake it up again, right? And I talked earlier about, sometimes you go into that shadow self. You may have to just submerge yourself into that dark space until you can fully use the energy of a past, stuff that don't serve you no more, right, and start to count your blessings. And so what I do is what people will call it depression, right? When we all have bouts of it. So right, when I know that depression is starting to come really thick on me, I create a space for it. I create a space for me to lay it down, not for me to walk around with it. A little different, right? Right. So I start there's a way now that I'm able to catch it and define it. Like I can catch, I know where that's at. So sometimes when I do Rev, I do rituals to stay ahead of the depression and do things to keep myself excited. So right, I'm like ahead in the marathon. Right. But it's still on me, right? Right. Sometimes when that depression starts to come next to me, down on you, right, and it starts to run down on me, I submit. I do a self-assessment, and I prepare the funeral. I do the eulogy. I just start looking my whole life and feeling whatever I feel, the heaviness, right? I go fully submerged in myself with it. Wow. I lay it down, and I begin to bury it. I begin to start to look. I do a ritual where I can look at myself in my process. It's weird. It's strange, and Penny, you'll probably have gifts to do that too, like where I can see myself going through it and looking and observing me. So I find a way to deploy my observer and just watch me go through it. Now my observed self knows that this is a living funeral, that I'm going to come up out of it. I'm going to resurrect. It's like death to resurrection. Right. It's the Asarian principle of, your parts of, the lower self of you are set, right? The self of you that cut you up and spread you all over the place.
All over the place.
You gotta go and
put
gather
yourself back together.
Your energy and bring yourself back together, and you gotta sit and and then resurrect. And so that's I find myself different phases of my life where going through that and accepting the living funeral and the burial. Like go to the funeral, go to the burial, go to the ritual and just let it go. And then I find myself springing forward again. I find myself, okay. Then life starts happening. Things that were grim and not happening for me. I'm complaining about this is not happening. Then I start seeing, I'm observing the magic. I'm dead now, Red. I'm already gave it up.
Right.
But I start to see relationships, family, women, my woman, friends. Like it starts, the light starts to happen, opportunities, the bag. It starts to now, and all of that makes me go, oh, it's time. I gotta face the living again.
Right, gotta get up out of this shit.
It's dominating. It's actually electrifying me to now face it. So now I gotta come up out of that state I was in, the death state, and I have to reface it. And so now, rather than get caught up in the pull of it for longer periods, Red, I start to identify when it's coming on this. Okay, this is gonna be that death period. Okay, like I'm winning. The 6 months I was winning. Okay, it's gonna be a real long funeral, and so I just start to prepare. What can I do? Kind of something like I was sharing with you earlier in the book. Like, what can I do to set myself up over the next weeks and months? How can I keep myself happy, even though I know I'm making my descent?
I do that as a Scorpion. I even put it out there. I let my audience know. We're entering into the death season, into winter. As a Scorpion, I know that we, go into hibernation, and we have to go into what is known as our Phoenix phase, where we rise out of our ashes. And I'm like, y'all privy to seeing me, even do it before you, because prior to the YouTube days, before I had a bi-weekly show, you just wouldn't see me for a month or two and whatnot. I just disappear while I go through these phases and whatnot. So I could definitely relate to what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's and I think if we create a space for us to go through that, we can actually come up out of depression quicker.
Right.
And we can able to deal with anxiety. Now I did, interesting you say anxiety, Red. I Spirit just told me, I love the alignment. You said the ancestors are working this, and they totally are. Because I was thinking about you today, and I was thinking about I wanted to share some herbs about anxiety, because I know people are dealing with all of this stuff on social media, and we dealing with all of this mass shootings and stuff and things we just going through. So in honor of coming on our conscious connections, I wanted to bring these herbs up that I researched to help with anxiety. Lavender, Lavender. Lavender. You can have it lavender oil as aromatherapy. You can get it as a tincture. You can take it under the tongue 1 to 3 times a day. You can add it to your tea, or you can add it to your soak. Lavender helps with anxiety. I know my wife, what she does is she takes lavender, rubs it, her hands, and rubs it around her pillow and on her clothes when she's resting at night. It helps to soothe her. So, and lavender is really good for anxiety. Valerian root, Valerian, valerian root. Kava, Kava. Passion flower. Turmeric. Chamomile. Ashwagandha. St. John's wort, WORT, and lemon balm. Okay, you can get all of these in loose herbs in tincture form, and some of them already come like in aromatherapy packs that you can get at Vitamin Shop and or Whole Foods, and you can use them, as the aromatherapy in your environment, and you can have them as tea. You can do triple things. You can take them as a bath, have it as a tea. Put aromatherapy in your room, and it can really just create an environment to kind of soothe you in a time of any triggers. And I really just wanted to share that with the family.
Oh, yes. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. So the next question, we got a few more before we wrap it up. And I just want to say, wonderful, wonderful dialogue. I don't know. I know that there's people out here that are benefiting from this conversation. They're saying it in the chat room. That's how
I say to the family.
You know what I'm talking about. Before we leave, I do want you to drop your wife's email or her website, and along with yours as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's people out there that want to tap in. I want to know, right? We know that you have a military background, right? In case the family didn't know, now you know. And you're a combat veteran. Would you say that gave you the foundation for discipline that you exhibit today? And is discipline a prerequisite for healing, or can it be acquired along the way? And can you also speak to having discipline in relationships?
Whew, absolutely to everything you said. Yes, it did.
Right. Yes.
Now,
Yes.
Now, now what it did was, I'm a goal-oriented person. So I know that there's a certain amount of discipline that has to be required to really manifest your dreams and visions, and a lot of things I've been blessed to work towards, I had to be in a certain cadence, I had to be regimented about in order to get the results. Being a serviceman, like your job is to be disciplined, if it makes sense. Like, so that, you're getting paid to be what they call squared away. And as they say, squared away. So you got to master your square. Also, dress right, to be in uniform, right? So it would, for me, now remember, I'm Supanova Slom, Queen of Four's son, Baba Heru's son, Baba Valentine's son going in. So I have a whole other armor, guard, and cadence. So I'm going really to get the jewels and the knowledge, you know what I'm saying? And to get those nuances to square me up. And Red, listen, I'm not even trying to push the patriotism thing. I'm saying when I got to just basic training, I wish that everybody in this country had the opportunity. That's how, I didn't care whether you want to burn it down, you want to lift it up. I wish everybody experienced I'm not talking about what I did as a combat warrior. I'm just saying the basic training.
Just the basic trainings.
Learning how to survive in the elements. Learning how to read a compass, learning how to actually they drop you so when you get lost, find your way back. Like learning how to eat learning how to eat a certain amount of calories for a certain amount of time.
Right.
Mind you, I'm still vegan the whole time. I didn't have to compromise that, But I'm saying that, Red, it really strengthened me. It actually allowed me to go into superhero portals of myself. Like my first ruck, like they say, a ruck is when you take your equipment. Now, when you're in basic training, they simulate the ruck, right? So it's like they give you because I was infantry combat. We had like 135 pounds on our back, so it's the big backpacks, right? Wow. So they put all the when you deploy, it's a whole nother thing you carry, but it's similar, right? So imagine. So the first task, Red, we had to walk 20 miles with the ruck.
Stop playing, bro.
I'm not serious. My first assignment, and look, Red, we had to wake up we had to get in formation at 3:00 in the morning. We started walking from 3:00 in the morning, a.m. So let me tell you something. When I tell you I couldn't go nowhere. I felt like I was dying. like I said, death, right?
Right.
So I remember walking, and they had this thing called Heaven's Gate, where we were trained at, because it's like these hills that kind of go up, almost like heaven, right? And it's in Georgia. It's in Georgia for those that know, right? Fort Benning in Georgia. That's where they train all the combat guys, right? So the hills, they call it Heaven's Gate, and they roll and they're deep and it goes up, right? So imagine 130 pounds, and you're walking all of that time. Now we get to rest. We get to rest for like 10 minutes here, and then you get up. Now, but you have to walk with your weapon. Right. So your arm, you're not just loosely walking. You have to be in form. Right. And so what I did, Red, the only way I got through it, and I've always been to physical fitness. I've never did nothing like that, And at the time, I was the typical, hood body guy that was big on the top. I was not no leg trainer. You were skipping the military made me appreciate leg training, but I was not big on the legs. But let me tell you, Red, I had to pray, chant, meditate, like all the tools I got along the way. And I had to talk to the ancestors. I spoke to all my ancestors, all the warrior ancestors, and they got me through. And it's almost like I had an out-of-body experience, Red. I didn't, at one point, because I was chanting the whole time. I was doing all the comedic chants. I didn't feel any pain. Like I was literally just moving a body. That's right. I felt like I was moving. Yeah, Red, was you gonna say something?
I was in boot camp.
Whoa!
I was in boot camp, but I was in shock.
Shock, wow.
New York City Department of Corrections has a boot camp called Shock. So instead of going to prison, they send you to the boot camp for 6 months. And
how was that experience?
We got drill instructors. Drill
sergeants.
We have real drill sergeants.
Wow.
So my most challenging experience was the captain's run. And the captain's run was only 5 miles, running with a log on my shoulder and whatnot, a big ass log. But
for 5 miles, whoa,
5 miles.
running.
But what I found out about the second wind doing the captain's run, I didn't know what I heard. You know, you hear about the second wind, but I didn't know about the second wind. I ran 7 miles on the captain's run because I kicked into the second wind on the 4th mile. I did the same exact thing that you did. I called on somebody. I was like, yo, somebody hold these legs up because they starting to feel wild heavy. And I can't, you know, I can't not complete this because you couldn't graduate if you didn't complete the captain's run. So from the 4th mile going into the 7th, something took over me. Something completely took me over. You know, we would do PT 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah, right. That's right.
We couldn't eat for but 10 minutes. We had to go program. We went to bed at 9.
You know, same shit, same thing.
Everything. Yeah. They called us, you know, all kind of names, and they would call us inmate. They did not call you by your last name.
Wow.
None of that. We was inmate, whatever our number was. You know, they were trying to strip us of our dignity. We had details during the daytime. We would go paint firehouses, all kind of stuff. No TV. I did not even know Aaliyah made transition. I had to find that out cleaning out a bathroom and going to garbage and whatnot and read the newspaper.
Wow.
We were secluded from everything. No newspaper, but they let us, when Princess Diana died though, that was big. They let us, they had us watch the funeral and all of that.
Wow.
Go figure. You know what I mean? Yeah, that was big news, but they hid Aaliyah from us. You know what I mean? Imagine how I felt when I found out my wife was gone.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, bro, boot camp was serious. We didn't have, it wasn't like we had no weapons though. And we definitely wasn't carrying around that bag.
Yeah.
We were making a big to-do about the logs, because if you wind up having a disciplinary action, like let's say that me and somebody was beefing, we would have to basically carry a log together.
Wow.
Everywhere that we go. And it was embarrassing. And the shit got heavy and whatnot. But that was like 30 pounds. So when you talking about you had a whole human being on your back.
So Red, so the reason now I didn't notice until I got to what they call garrison active.
Right.
Because it's all active. But when we got to, when we graduated from that, I realized we had our PT now, we had to actually do what they call buddy man carry. We had to run. So I had to pick Red up and I had to run a certain amount of yards with Red on my back. And then Red had to carry me. So the whole thing was they were practicing us. If Red got shot down range, I had to be able to take him and had already conditioned to carry him to safety. I didn't know this. I didn't know how it all connected. So I'm just trying to say
you can't leave nobody behind.
I'm trying to say, Red, is that what you experienced, what I experienced, holistically, because we live in a war machine called the United States, is a war machine, and literally went to war with our indigenous ancestors, went to war bringing our ancestors' bodies over here, right? That respectfully, regardless of people's opinions, I would want us to climatize to just tactics and tenets that in civilian life we will just be more sharper on. You know, when I think about the soft targets that extremists target, our mothers, grandfathers, our children, the babies in the school, right?
Right.
To your point, when you talk about the babies getting shot in the school, the 18 kids, I read something today, Red, that said there were parents outside that the cops were not letting in to get them, and the cops were scared to go in.
For 40 minutes.
And you know what, Red? Those cops did not go through basic.
That's right.
I wish, they went through cop training, but I wish they went through what me and you went through, because it would climatize them to a certain type of discipline. I know I can look at the cops and understand the ones who were actually part of the process.
Military,
ones who just became a cop and trigger happy, because it's a different signal. It's different. They move different.
They do.
I'm not talking about the paramilitary units that they give money to act like they military. I'm talking about the ones that actually went through the training, right?
Right.
You move in a different, because you're broken down and you're built up. And what you're built up into, you become a master observer. You ever see the martial art films where the Buddhist monk is a martial artist? He don't want to fight you. He's trying to just drink his tea.
Right.
And,
While
and
everything is going crazy.
With him,
Right.
He beats him up and then he says, Buddha bless you.
Right.
A true warrior, regardless of ethnicity, this is really where he becomes.
Right.
Another thing, Red, when they say prior military, most of those prior military guys were not combat arms.
Well, were they?
And let me break it down. Now, for those out there, I have respect. I don't set trip on MOS, okay?
Right.
Which is your job. But there's only 10% of the military that is combat arms. 90% is support. Okay. So everybody's supposed to be able to shoot. But everybody who has a uniform and has a M4 is not a combat arms. Most of these Looney Tunes ain't went downrange and did nothing. They was on the FARB. And the few that went downrange as combat arms, they didn't have no kinetic building banging out with no Al Qaeda or no ISIS.
Right.
So I'm just saying humbly, from you as your combat brother, I know what tribes have done what just by how they carry themselves. Most of the dudes who really seen the shit, they say the shit, right? They don't move like that. To your point of discipline, the discipline is instilled in them so much, they hold it like a samurai warrior, right?
Yeah.
You have to. Now, have there been combat armed brothers that have went out there? Absolutely, because that thing is crazy, right? And to our point, hurt men. So if you don't go through no healing protocols post your deployment or post your experience, you don't even know how to conduct yourself. Hence our brothers in the street culture. They're perpetually stuck in bang mode because they have not had a period of just self-reflection, healing, and things set up for them to go through that process. They're literally stuck in a rolling 60 formation.
There's no power down mode.
In a Paru formation, in a Brim formation. They're stuck in the formation because there have been no supporting elements to get them just to take a pause, a tactical pause, and to come again, right?
Right.
And so, not to go too far in the rabbit hole, I'm blessed to have the discipline. Do I agree with the war machine? Absolutely not. But because I know where I live, I wanted to get all that I can. They said, be all you can be? Yeah, that was me. Screening for his son, Bobby Heru's son. Yeah, I wanted to be all that I could be and get what I can get.
Right.
Because guess what I'm doing now? I'm not working with them. I'm working with my peoples. But now I'm working as a heightened man, a trained man, the one that already went through it. So it's nothing that them crazy folks can do to me.
That's right.
That's right. They can't scare me with none of that. I don't move. My family, myself, when we walk even to the store, we move discipline. We situational awareness. Brothers, never sit with your back face to the wall. Never have your woman facing the street. These are simple things that I want to just bring to the family. Just even though you don't have to swear and join the structure. I wish you could do it just to get what you need, but that's okay. If you're receptive to myself and other brothers and sisters, even Red when he had to go through his discipline, right? We're sharing these tenets and tools for you to be the best version of yourself, to be aware of where you're living. The school, listen, we're in the wild, west, east, north, and south. Right. When the babies is getting shot in the classroom with the teacher, when grandmother and granddad in the supermarket can't shop, we don't want to hear nothing about no this and that and that. Everybody better go from twerking to training. I'm not mad at sisters getting their Kundalini sexual freedom, but I just need you to take that same energy to the gun range. I'm not trying to tell you what you do with your cat. I'm just saying you need to go from working that pole, vertical to working that pole.
Yeah, that part. Hold on. Right. Working that pole.
You feel me, Ray? And because your life depends on it. Your life depends on it. Just for our existence in this war machine. And it seems like between the pandemics and the recession on the way, and then all this massive shootings, we're just in this climate. And this is why me and Rev are building today to talk about pockets of joy. What can we do in the midst of chaos? Like I had an album called Love in the Midst of Chaos, saying that. How can we continue to express love, murmur with each other, with ourselves and our partners and our fellow brothers and sisters in the midst of all that's going on?
Right.
Like, even though we can be in the world, but not of it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
But guess what? When the world try to come for us, we got those tactics. And this is what I'm trying to say. It's I'm not only just saying this way, but we're building the fortress of our consciousness is body, mind, spirit. You know, and I want us to be like, you know, you got the monks that trained in the Shaolin Temple. We need to be the trained monks. You know, all of us, you know, we have the ability to train ourselves, body, mind, spirit, to be warriors and warrioresses. We don't have to be out here as the aggressive warrior, right? But we have to be so disciplined because our success demands it. You asked earlier, read about, is it necessary for success? You know, to do what we're doing with Heal Thyself, the brothers are required to come with enthusiasm and discipline for himself. Now, discipline is not something that's just given to us and we got it. We know we have to work on it. But as long as we're willing, the key word is will, we're willing to work on it, right? Then it will work for us. You know, the discipline is it's a discipline. Think about discipline as being your ancestral spirit, right? That lives in you and around you.
Wow.
The more you will that ancestral force inside you, all the other surrounding ancestors come and strengthen that will.
Wow.
And it's not about being the perfected one. I'm holier than thou. It's saying, no, every day I'm willing to do small steps to whole steps, something to strengthen my body, mind, spirit. Did I do my affirmation today to strengthen my mind? Did I do my prayer today to give gratitude? You know what I'm saying? Did I drink my water to give libation to my body, right? Did I take my herbs today to just clear out any blockage that may be there? Did I write down any people I got to release today with a good attitude? Well, those exes or that friend, bless them or go. Small steps allows you to be the mighty sovereign. You know, like our Moorish brothers and sisters talk about being the sovereign of yourself. You know, I am self, Lord Master. Like that's a power. I just be saying, can we go deeper? I love that. Let's take that and go in.
Right.
That's
excellent.
I love that. Let's be the traveling man and woman in.
Within, right. Excellent segue to the next question that I got. And we have about 2 more. I know that you're a bodybuilder and that you care about your physique, right? That's outside of the obvious. What role does fitness and nutrition play in your relationship with somebody else, in your relationship with yourself?
Okay. Well, relationship with me. Our body, you know, we're intended, we walk upright. We're meant to move, right? And I tell people, you know, functional movements are always good. Let me tell you an example, right? So this book is on a chair, right?
Yes.
I'm bending down, I'm picking it up.
Yep.
You know what that's called? A deadlift.
Right.
The deadlift is working my lats and my core and my legs. That's called a functional movement.
Right.
Red, this is my book. What did I just do, Red? I did a lateral raise. This is my shoulders and my delts. We just got to be cognizant or have cognition activated to the movements. Once we connect mind and body to what we're doing and we set an intention to the movement, now we're doing with purpose. The building the body is something that, you know, your body, you come into the planet as weight and you leave weightless. Ain't that deep?
It's very deep.
So it's only 21 grams is the spirit. They have measured the spirit because they say 21. You lose those 21 grams when the body, right? When the body,
when the body,
the parts. So I think it's very important, you know, like what I would do, like when I work through my mental things, Red, anxiety and depression and things that I'm triggered, I go to the Iron Temple and worship. Because when I look at it, Red, it's like life is heavy. I got into weight training because my life was heavy. I became a father for the first time, Red. The woman at the time, my ex, her mother was already 2 children in. Right. So we didn't have a shared experience of first time, you know? Right. Now it was the first time she had a daughter, but it was her 3rd child. So I didn't have a partner I could really talk to, Red, about, you know, like first time father, that what's going on. And so I remember to my spiritual uncles, the Aline twins. I mean, you know, the uncles, the Tunde
yes.
Yeah, our uncles. Yeah. So they always reminded me at the time. I remember they always tell me that you want to master the weight of life. Look at the weight you pick up. respect all pounds, 5 pounds. That's respect that weight.
Right.
Moving a repetition, take your thought and move your thought through it. So I would try to figure out this new manness of having a responsibility, this child, right?
Right.
It was heavy. The minute I had that iron on my chest, Red, and I did this repetition, I was able to channel that, the metaphor, and go, okay, it feels like 235 pounds on my chest. That's how my life feels right about now. This is hard.
Right.
Okay, I got a half rep. I'm going to work on that, right? Go through life. Before I know it, I take my life and I'm full repetition, Okay, I got 5 out of that, right? So I looked at my body over time. I was going through life outside of me, triggers inside of me, and I was understanding the resistance. Life is about resistance. So I got into resistance training. Like I said earlier about we live in a war machine. So I had to study the tenets of war. These are warlords.
Right.
So I'm not going to have them, and me and you hang out together, you could be bullying us. I got to read the room, Red. Yeah, I already know that's a really insecure person in the uniform right there. Yeah, he's military, but he ain't no infantry. I can tell how he moving. He's just trying to get out here. He ain't shot at Qaeda, so he's trying to come back into the hood now and be that. See how they do that? They caught nobody. Look, that's why I call them out. They don't have me on their platform. They know I read them. I know who really who ain't. No, you was the cook over there. You was the driver, which I respect. You was the fueler. You was the analyst. I respect you. But now you a cop. You want to come inside, Atlanta and Newark and Compton and Brooklyn, and now you want to act like we Al Qaeda and we're the Taliban, right?
That's right. Yeah.
You want to get that stripe now. Anyway, I digress. My point of saying that, Red, is that I use the heaviness of my life as a metaphor to training. So like how we used to train, in the parks in Brooklyn, the pull-ups and the dips, push-ups, right? We're taking our body, we're moving in repetition. But the other part of it, the body-mind connection with me is I would actually literally take my experiences, my frustrations, what I was going through, and I would move through 10 planes. I would go, I'm giving me 10 good push-ups. I'm feeling real heavy right now. What am I going through? And I would visualize myself pushing through it, pulling up through it, and repetition. And I'll do sets of that until I feel stronger to confront it again.
Wow.
Now my body over time, it took its form, but it was really for my mind, Red. It wasn't necessarily for me to, I want to become Arnold Schwarzenegger or Ronnie Coleman. It was really at first, eventually I started to study them, but at first it was really, this is heavy in my brain. And my body, I need to send this somewhere because I don't know what to do. And when I took those thoughts and I started to move them through the motions and go through the exercises to exercise my demons, right? Get them out and start to move my energy. Then the body started to shape. It started to mold. It started to take on shape based upon my thought, And then I took the plant-based nutrition and merged and said, okay, well, I'm not going to eat like them and do their all of their cycles of all types of foreign things. So I just tried to find like you said, discipline, regimen that was really rigorous to force the growth. I had to stay on my herbs, I had to increase my calories when I wanted size. I had to eat a certain way. I had to make sure that I had all of my, all the proteins and amino acids come from all the greens. It comes from all of we have so many. You have the quinoa, listen, all you need, let me just break it down. All you need to gain mass, but your brother's trying to, get more, eat more calories. You be plant-based, whatever you're into, eat more calories. Protein source, it can be definitely plant-based. There's a lot of options, right? Protein source, fat source, carbohydrate source, which is your healthier starches, and your fibers, which are your fruits and vegetables. That's it. Every meal, small portions of each of those. You can have a liquid meal, solid meal. You do that more times throughout the day, and you do the work, and then you fuel. Work, fuel, rest.
Right.
Hard work, eat more fuel, rest, get bigger, right? You shred, eat less, still work hard, eat less, work hard, rest. You see? So you just learn yourself in a span of a year. You learn, sometimes you feel like you want to get a little bigger, then you just, do a little more work. I want to tone down and shred down. Okay, I'm gonna eat a little lighter, do a little more fasting, but I'm gonna still do hard work.
Right.
The work is the key, the discipline, Red.
That Damn, hold on, man. That was a word right there. I remember when we were in the park back in the days and we would work out with you, you know, you would tell us to break down the temple and build it back up. You know, go hard, break your body down, and then build it up. You know what I mean? Because if you're not
you know that
down,
that's from you, build and destroy, from the nation of gods and earths.
That's right. If you're not gonna break it down, how you expect to build it up? How you gonna add on to it?
Add on.
So here's my last question, my good brother. And once again, you already know this is a very, very powerful conversation. Yeah, we you know, you laid out so much, so many jewels and whatnot. This should be required watching. This will be required watching for our student body that's going to be in the Conscious Connectionz. Can you give us an idea of some of your daily practices that you utilize to not only stay balanced, but to cleanse yourself spiritually? You know, we're in some interesting times.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are talking about the need to have good spiritual hygiene now more than ever. So can you just give us some tips on that?
Okay, absolutely. So, my rising, I usually rise between 4 and 6 every morning, and I prepare to go out to train. I usually train for 4 hours. Now, I'm not always moving. Sometimes, you know, I'm sitting still and preparing my mind for the training. So, but it's a 4-hour module. So when I first wake up, I take the first 15 to 20 minutes just to sit. And just drop, you know, coming from the fasted state to the wakened state, you know, from sleep, they go sleep to awakened state. And I just, you know, try to lock in. I work on locking into my breathing. And for the first 15, 20 minutes, I'm just, you know, getting back into the body, you know, allowing everything to drop in. And then as I'm doing that breathing exercise, I'm actually visualizing what I want out of the training.
Yes.
And like I said, I set my intentions. Let's say I'm working on 3 or 4 goals for the week, or I'm working on a project. I'm donating the time for the training towards that project, right? So I use the meditation time to prepare me for outside deployment or going outside my home. It's very important before you leave your home that you take at least 15 to 20 minutes and ground yourself. Now, grounding may look different for everybody, but I recommend however you do it, get it done. Another thing I do within the grounding period, within that 20 minutes, is I do my mantras and my affirmation confirmations. We talk about that in the Man Heal Thyself book. Is you created an affirmation, right? An I am affirmation, like you say. Okay, example, I am Supanova Slom. I read what I wrote for the brothers. I read exactly what I wrote.
Yes.
Because I do this every morning to ground me before I go into the day, into the world. And I use this to protect me because, you know, there's so much that's happening to us, family, that you have to have your spiritual armor on point, right? It's very important that you have that. And you can use your words can be part of your armor to charge you and to keep you protected. So I'll say, I, Supanova Slom, affirm all day, every day to be accountable to my highest and wisest self, to nourish myself so that I can continue to serve humanity at my highest level. So I wrote it in my book, but I want you to write it down. So I have mine. I open my book, I read it to myself, and I'll sit with that over and over. Just let it echo. And once I'm out of my meditation, I do my monitoring of my I am affirmation. Once I'm confirmed in that, then I go into ritual with my shower. I'm still monitoring in my shower. So now the water on me, I'm preparing me. It's now the water coming on my libation is actually a metaphor of my body. Now I'm doing my teeth. Everything now, the ritual preparing to deploy is protecting my auric field. I go and make my, you know, my superfoods, mega foods, make my shake, have my sea moss in there, put my shakes in there, right? I put everything together. Right. Taking, you know, blue and 19's gold. I put my whole thing together, but I'm still monitoring and still affirming myself through every ritual leading up to leaving the home.
Right.
So once you awaken, brothers and sisters, and you start your first gesture of breathing, intention, affirmation, if you can take that throughout your steps as you get ready, as you prepare yourself, your foods, your nourishment, the moment you hit that atmosphere is going to do everything to align to what you said. It would do everything to support and affirm and confirm what you just affirmed. Now, Will you have challenges? Absolutely. Will things probably go haywire? But you'll be able to move through the valley of the shadow of death unscathed. You may be moved, you may be bumped a little bit, but you'll be able to. The key, family, as we see with our beloved human family we lost as his children and these elders in Buffalo, is to leave home and return home.
Right. That's the mission.
So now more than ever, now this is with the other side of the metaphysics. We talk about going to the gun range. Besides that, I don't want you just to be locked and going to the gun range and not doing spiritual work, because you can still get caught out there, right? It's called body, mind, spirit, right? So even those who do the training, the martial arts, and and the gun range training, right? I love it, but you still have to do your spiritual work, so you can, with your weapons, you can maneuver safely and be safe, and not have any negative discharges to hurt yourself or somebody else, right? Still, the key is to be safe. The key is to not be out here actually just because you were trained to be undisciplined. It's to be disciplined. Only if your life is threatened, then you protect yourself. Other than that, you don't have to showboat and post and brag. That's you don't have to do none of that. You just have to make sure that you strengthen your auric field and your spiritual power. So every time you're moving in the world, the elements complement your movement. And this is where I wish, or I send a prayer of safe passage to all the sisters and brothers in the conscious connections. May the ancestors continue to accelerate in you and around you and through you. May when you wake up tomorrow in the AM, in the rise, and you have your water, on your body and your water inside your body, may it be a libation dedicated to your intention of that day. Just be the master of the day. Sometimes the anxiety about thinking the next 7 days, the next year can have you uneasy. If you could just become a master of the day and you can own that day, that will give you a vision of what the possibility of other days can look like. Stop trying to think about the next 7, next 14, 21. Focus on, can I have a 24 hours of victory for myself? 24 hours of power. Use that as a discipline to show you what it can look like being disciplined, and you multiply that by 7 times 7 and going on. So I definitely send a wellness warrior salute to you, beloved, for you and your beloveds and you and your family. And also this amazing community that you're building in Conscious Connections. May brothers and sisters be charged. This is the time that we fellowship, strengthen each other, and we activate our spiritual gifts.
That's right.
Let me just say this, Red. God time, no demon time. We not bowing down to no demon time. It ain't got nothing to do with us. We are sacred and we're not savage. We're not mixing. We're not mingling. Sacred over the savage. God mind over demon time. No fraternizing with demon time. Okay?
To this day. To this day.
And we are sacred and we're not savage. We don't speak to savage and we don't speak up savage. We cultivate the sacred. We are sacred men and sacred women, and we are protected and exalted and our highest and wisest without any negotiation going forward. So if you felt that before, I'm not saying that before. I'm saying right here now, family, I put the holistic spirit of our ancestors on you to protect you and fortify you, that you rise to the God time in you, because that's the time we in, and you rise to your sacred portal and be responsible and you activate. We need all hands on deck. And ain't no one person gonna cut it. I know I need my brothers and sisters to be in formation, lock and loaded, body, mind, and spirit. Sisters, let's get from that horizontal, that vertical pole, and start mastering that horizontal pole on the range. That's okay. Right. Again, I have to reiterate that I'm not talking that you can't activate your Kundalini sexual power. I'm saying that we're gonna need that same energy in other ways now. I'm not saying you can't be your sexual express self, but right now, when mothers, grandmothers, and grandfathers are getting shot, babies are getting shot in school with teachers, this may not be the conversation time for Kundalini energy.
That's right.
We may need another. I may need my warrior sisters up right now. I'm not saying you can't pop it and drop it and lock it. I'm saying that you need to practice popping, dropping, and locking them demons. Asheo.
Asheo to that right there. Hold on.
To this day. To this day. Woo.
earful, y'all. It's been an earful. One thing that we can't deny is that we definitely got upgraded today with information, with some energy, and with some insight by a master teacher that is amongst us, our good brother Supanova Slom.
Love you, Red.
Yes, I love you too, King. Please leave them with your the way to contact you, because I'm sure there's some brothers out here that's going to want to sign up to the program. And how can they contact your queen as well?
Okay, I dropped the queen's information first. Layla Delia, y'all can find her on all I think how they say DPSs, how they say it, Red?
Digital
DSP.
Streaming platform, DSP.
Yeah, I can hear it. DSPs. Okay,
go stream that Londrell song too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Layla Delia. She's on all the digital handles. Vibrate Higher Daily. That's vibratehigherdaily.com. That is the website. She has a community over there that go into the daily practices of vibrating the technology of oneself. So I definitely encourage you all to check it out. Join the community. It's very insightful, very powerful. You can find me here on YouTube. Supanova Slom, SUPANOVA SLOM. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm also on Instagram. I'm currently banned from going live, so I'm really grateful for my brother Red for calling his brother forward to share. It's an honor always when my family calls me forward. I do what I can to align. So thank you for the call, beloved. I'm also on Twitter, on Facebook, as Supanova Slom. And you can also go to Amazon and you can get the Man Heal Thyself book. It's available on Amazon, Man Heal Thyself, The Wellness Warrior's Guide to Self-Mastery. It's on Amazon. And for the brothers that are interested in joining our 12-week online training, follow us on Instagram at Man Heal Thyself Program. That's Man Heal Thyself Program on IG. And you can just see what we're about. You can hear testimonials from brothers who went through the training. Even when they graduate, we have something called, we do a monthly accountability circle where brothers from different, formations come together and share. And just as a network, we have brothers that have created businesses together, Red, and got money together, just continuing the Wellness Warrior work. So we definitely want to be here for just a support for our brothers that are on the journey. Again, you can find us on Instagram at Man Heal Thyself Program, and then the link is in the bios for the site. Okay,
beautiful, man. Everybody, give this man a round of applause. Send him some cash apps. Send him some fire emojis. Send your brother some cash apps as well, because I saw somebody saying, "Why don't I have super chat?" I started this channel in 2008, and they haven't monetized it since that day. And there's you don't have to ask why they haven't monetized it. You should already know why they haven't monetized it. So the way to support independent media, of course, the way to support this platform would definitely be through the Cash App. My mod, Destiny, has put it in the chat room numerous times, # Phil Moreland. For the family that is tapped into Third Eye Thursdays, we are going to extend that to Friday. There's a class that I have on Saturday with Al-Kibalon 44. The link is in the description. I would love for y'all to tap into that. We will have the brother on the platform tomorrow on Friday. This was 3 hours, so we're gonna let this breathe. You feel me? We're gonna let this breathe. And you know what I'm saying? I got some work to do to finish this lecture that I got on Saturday. So we'll see you on Friday for Third Eye Friday.
Can I drop one more thing, Red?
Of course.
Also, I want family to reach out to our big homie, Professor Griff.
Yes.
And he is providing an amazing service as far as tactical training for brothers and sisters who want to get to the gun range. Please link up with our beloved brother, our big homie, Professor Griff. Also, On Point, what's it called? On Point Arms LLC, yes. Black owned on Instagram. On Point Arms, Redstone Firearms, Black owned. NAGA National on Instagram.
Yes.
And also Black Gun Owners Association. All of those are amazing portals for family members, so young children to adults that, the laws of your state vary, but you can always join a gun club, even if you can't necessarily carry and conceal outside. You know, even in New York and New Jersey family, we know the gun laws are strict, but you can still join a gun club near you. The Huey P. Milton Gun Club is very important too. So I would just encourage you. I'm not trying to promote you to be violent and aggressor, but I think the discipline of being a trained warrior is akin to our spiritual discipline. And we have we have the right of self-defense, like our amazing Black Panther Party and ancestor elders said back in those days. You know, they were the Black Panther Party of self-defense. So we should just be in the training consciousness. We don't want to be. We're not promoting soft targets. We're not promoting grandmothers. We need grandmothers, aunties, grandfathers, uncles, fathers, brothers and sisters. Our next barbecues need to be at the gun range. I'm just gonna leave it there.
That's right. That's right. Let's twerk and turn up.
Come on,
bottles. Get a section at the gun range, stand on the couches and shoot some shit. You know what I'm talking about?
Come on, that's it, man.
Yeah.
And you know, Red, it's all about breathing. You know, when I was breathing off and I was in the military, you know, my sergeant came to me when I was in basic training. He said, "I know you meditate, right?" I said, "Yeah." He says, inhale, exhale, shoot on an exhale. The moment I did that, I became an expert shot. I was just reacting and not crazy. He said, bring your meditation to the range. When he said it, I understood the breathing. Right. Inhale.
It's all breathing.
The exhale is the shot because it goes right in. It goes right on top. Right. So it goes back to the metaphysics, man. Like we think it's all about to it, right? It's beyond the violence and the turn up and the drilling. I'm not talking about none of that undisciplined stuff. I'm talking about respect to those rites of passage they got to go through because we went through ours, Red. But I'm saying for the heightened man and woman who has families, who has fellowship with brothers and sisters, we just need other skills while we live in this war machine. We got to ante up, and we have to protect ourselves, body, mind, and spirit. Okay, that's so I wish you all, as they sell in the streets, bulletproof love, meaning that no bulletproof pierce your love, bulletproof love, and safe passage to you and your deployment family, and you, beloved Pill, continued abundance and breakthroughs, Almighty.
Oh, you already know. There's no stopping this train. There you have it, family. Conscious Connectionz, episode 2. We got more stuff coming. You know what I mean? This is our rollout. You will be informed about all of the things. We got retreats, meetups. We have some classes and courses, a whole bunch of stuff, but this is the walk that we must do first. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So I appreciate love everything that was said and all of the even everybody in the chat. That was a lot of love in the chat, a lot of energy. Thank you to my mods and whatnot.
Salute to the mods.
Yeah, salute. You know, this was a powerful demonstration, and I look forward to the next one. All right. So with that being said, love and light to the family.